with a camera and a dream. Another white savior with the YouTube scheme. Found a sweet girl half your age, so sweet. Now she's your content, our love so cheap. You say it's real, but we all see the game. Poverty porn with the romantic frame. She's your backdrop, your exotic prize, while you count the clicks from your paradise. Oh, don't be that guy with the vlog and a lie, selling a story while you're living the high. You say it's true love, but the comments all know you're just another old man with a show. Don't be that guy. You built a channel off her yes and dear, but the second she speaks you cut her clear. She's so shy, folks know she's just aware that her life's your script. Do you even care? You say she's happy, but we see the strain. Another brown face in your cash grab frame. Her family's struggling, but your Patreon's high. Tell me, hero, who's really saving lives? Oh, don't be that guy with a vlog and a lie, selling a story while you're living the high. You say it's true love, but the comments all know you're just another old man with a show.
Hey guys, give me a moment here, get this down. Hey, what is going on, guys? Good morning, Magadan Po, Magadan Omaga. George went out for like Staples, and I thought he would be back. He's up. I have been sick since Thursday, and I'll go through all of this. And I've been basically eating when I can. It looks like officially I'm going to have to go on like what they call the brat diet, where it's just basically total bland. Like I started with rice last night, but he went out for bananas, crackers, and plain bread so I can have dry toast. I've hit rock bottom, and I'm about 5 days in. I'm losing my voice, everything. I started some electrolyte pills today. I have electrolytes. This is basically the same thing. I found that every electrolyte here in the Philippines has some sort of crazy fake sugar in it. I'm having major reactions to stevia right now, and I found like I was drinking orange juice that had stevia. It was the like mid ingredient, and couldn't figure out why 2 days in a row I had a migraine. It's one of my triggers, as some of the artificial sugar triggers me. So I've been drinking more water, but got the pills. But just as I thought my life couldn't get any worse, it actually did. George was just being nice as always, and I fell for the, hey, I got you something to eat when he came back from the vets to take the kids in. We had 2 of the cats last week. It's been about a week. Fixed here at the house, and then he took them into the local place. There's an office, and he was out forever. And when he came back, he had lechon kawali or lechon. And I've always been skeptical of eating it because I don't always feel they're cooking it all the way. And he brought back lumpia that was kind of it was soggy, greasy. So in my opinion, sometimes the grease doesn't get hot enough. I'll show you some footage here in a minute. And like of street food, I took some clips from Facebook, and they don't tend to get their grease super hot. So, and they use pork fillings in them and stuff. So somewhere between it sitting out forever after they cook it, sometimes they leave it sitting in the heat. He thinks it's because he left it in the car for a short period of time, and I'm like not sure. But I fell for it around Thursday, about 3-4 o'clock. I ate 1 lumpia and like 2 pieces of meat. And when I bit into the second one, it was practically between a marshmallow substance and I don't know. it was really mushy. And I'm not big on the fat pieces like the Filipinos are. Like they like their um, heavy duty items with fat and everything in it, big chunks like expats when they see it, they're like, "Oh my god, it's all fat and a little bit of meat." We want a little bit of meat with our fat. They prefer to have the fat. And when I bit into it, was just too what seemed to be undercooked. But I don't want to make George feel bad. He already feels bad right now. I think you should feel bad a little more, but just char. But he does it, and it's kind of an insult. Like any country, like if he takes something over to the family house, then where he spends a lot of time these days, and if his uncle gives him something or vice versa, and they don't eat each other's food that's given, it's kind of offensive. His family's asked him not to do the street food. George eats tons of street food. I don't. I only do it every now and then, and I should have known better. It already been a long week for me with my lupus. I am autoimmune compromised big time. And so my system is weak all the time. I'm on steroids twice a day to begin with, which makes my system even weaker. And I ate it, and within a few hours, and that's what would indicate food poisoning versus, and I'll go through this later. Today's topic will be based on medical, dealing with medical by yourself. Several times George has been at his family's house ever since he's got that car. He's been over there all the time. And so it seems to be, I feel I'm a little bit vulnerable being alone. Last time when I fell outside, it took him a while to get here. And again, this is since he got the car, he spends a lot more time outside the house. And the so anyways, so being vulnerable with medical issues in the Philippines. Last live stream we talked about the guy that needs his hip replaced, and he'd been in the hospital. His wife quit his job. We went through that. There's been several sick expats here recently. And then I end up with something. My guess, and I'm going to guess because I'm not going into the hospital. I'm going to tell you that right now. Reason being is they'll rack up a bill like, oh, get out. They're going to want to test me for everything. They're going to test me as being lupus. Like they're going to go through all of that to determine things, and I just can't see it because both of them do not require medical treatment. So all you can do with food poisoning or the norovirus, whether the person's hands contaminated the food or whatever, because I was out earlier in the week. If that would have been from me being out touching counters, I would have gotten it because I was pretty much at home, didn't visit with nobody. We weren't getting any packages. So the next incident was the meat and the piece of lumpia that I ate. And so if it would have been that, both of them, the treatment is self-care. And in a worst case like mine, where I had bloody stools, which is more of an indicator of food poisoning, because the first stool within a few hours had blood in it, and it just had some yesterday. So it would indicate possibly needing antibiotics. I don't have any hemorrhoids. People like, oh, well, you probably have hemorrhoids. Nope, not for me. So sorry about all the details. So no Imodium is stopping it, Pepto, the cramping, the nausea, none of it. And a lot of people that get here will go through the traveler's diarrhea and stomach. It's because the stuff in the water, your stomach's not strong enough for it. The E. coli and all the things in the food, we're not used to it. Filipinos can. They've been eating food like this forever. George has got an iron stomach. So bottom line, I did not come here to the Philippines to die on the Oregon Trail. I was telling George last night, it was pretty late and I was back up like at 2 a.m. I said, I did not come all the way here to have dysentery and be dehydrated and lose my life that way. So on the Oregon Trail. But my guess is the meat, and it's just where it is. So I will go through about the traveler's diarrhea. Also, I did take some notes here on that part because nobody can know all this stuff. So I'm letting you know that this is going to be where I'm going to script it and read from like the article I have, the food poisoning and all of that, and go through those here in a little bit and show you some footage of street vendors and then go through the comments Again, I'm not sure when he'll roll in, but I am on antibiotics and have been for a few days. So all I can do is wait it out. So it's usually, let me pull up the footage I have here so I can. All right, so this is Pampanga Market at 3 in the morning. And I want to let you know that this is a very big market. Remember what I told you, if you guys are going to buy meat or do any of this, that you would want to do it um, early AM. There's a market in our neighborhood, okay, that they do the market like at 4 o'clock. And a lot of that meat looks like they've had it all day. More than likely, they got it from this market. They go there and they buy it wholesale. That's not good because a lot of them will try to put it in a freezer, like a locker ice freezer, just a regular old carton container on the, which is not really good. But again, us foreigners don't have a strong enough stomach to handle that. Even Filipinas or Filipinos will say, "Hey, I just don't do that." So it's a choice, it's a way of life. For me, I've pretty much avoided doing this, and I probably, I don't know, maybe only 2 dozen times in 5 years have really eaten anything from the streets. I have gotten where it is from the fast food restaurants, which still somebody could have contaminated hands and have the rotavirus and norovirus and all that. The stomach virus can be spread fairly quick. A bunch of school kids get it, the mothers get it. No constant washing hands. A lot of these facilities have little to no water, and you will actually see that. But this is 3 in the morning. And the first time I experienced a market like this was in the Middle East. Okay. And so the meat is just in the open, but at least it's still cool weather. But I want to let you know it's still hot. Your ideal of, like, for the Filipinos, they'll say it's cool that morning. For me, it feeling like 90 degrees, it still can't be good. But it's if you look, you'll see the facilities usually don't have water. Um, and I seen somebody with a stand the other day that was on a bike. They just take the bike, they start it up, they drive up the street in traffic, driving around, and then they'll park it and they'll start cooking and selling things again. They take the trike home, they reload it with the same stuff. I don't think they're out there hosing it down, spraying it with disinfectant. There could be. I'm not saying not everybody is, but you know, expats that have been here need to be really honest about this stuff. And these are things that you're not going to hear most of the channels talk about. They're going to talk about everything else, but reality will hit at some point that you'll end up sick, and your spouse may not be able to always help. You will have, whether you're going to waste a ton of money to go in and be examined, because here you can be nickeled and dimed to death. Well, you can in the United States too, but at least I would have full insurance at that point in the United States to go through. But in a case of mine, there's nothing I can do. Everything I can do, I'm doing right now. But you have to take caution. These guys in this neighborhood during the market, they go to the bathroom, number one and number two, and they go right back to their stands and they cook. I've seen it with my own eyes. So it's just that they have iron stomachs. We do not. So, as a person with an autoimmune issue and over the age of 50, anybody with that really should take caution. I think I've heard Gio talk about food safety, and I think he said his wife or his ex-wife at the time um, did not like to go to those markets. And the newfangled Filipinos, the ones that are, living a different life, tend not to. Now, George's family is kind of up there in, I would call it clans or whatever you want to say. But his family has nannies and it's an oversized house. Um, I don't even think his mother even approves of him eating street food, but he does it all the time, guys. But you guys just seen like the food. I wanted to talk about this as it was going through. Um, this meat sits out there, and people will probably dispute that. Oh my God, they go through a bunch of it, so it doesn't sit out there that long. Not so true. I've seen it sit out there for quite a while. because there's 3 or 4 people in front of me, and they'll stand there waiting for it to be cooked for 30 minutes, and it's still all sitting out there. So it does sit out there for a few hours, whether it's nighttime, in the daytime, and then, usually it's not always somebody with gloves reaching over it. They let each individual person, including street kids, they'll walk up, they'll grab it, and then they'll hand it, and it's right over the meat. So you're talking kids that could have the norovirus from being at school, on the jeepneys. So my point is you guys have to be very, very cautious. I ignored my own rule because I was like, oh my God, it's, you know, I was like, oh my God, it's lechon. And um, so I'll get to the comments here in a minute. I also got some statistics that I'll tell you about as far as like I looked up and it's tried to say that in 12 years there was only 200 cases. And just like George says, the internet actually lies about that. A lot of things, because I went looking further into like the direct government sites, the medical sites, and I did come up with more, and there was a lot more. Like during Holy Week, there were several hundred cases of food poisoning that were reported, and the norovirus, and people severely sick. And here in the Philippines, the reason they're not getting more reports is Filipinos are not going to go there to get IV bags and stomach medicines. And usually it's not treated with antibiotics. So they're just going to stay at home for stuff like that. So it feels like death, but my deal with having lupus is I would like to get some liquid IV or something that may make me feel better. There's nothing more. I'm already on antibiotics. So, um, but let me see if I can get this. Like I said, I got some notes here about I talked about the traveler's diarrhea. It's common, it's a bacteria transmitted through contaminated food, drinking contaminated water. Now, and ice. And I told you guys not to eat the ice, and I thought about it. We had KFC about a week ago. So I know it had nothing to do with it, more than a week and a week, 10 days ago. And the ice was in it. And now street ice, that would be something else I would think about, but I have done it in the past. So, but you know, this could be what's going on, but it's still something bacteria. It's everything that I have, the cramping, urgency, nausea, fever, low grade fever, and everything. It says often 3 to 24 hours onset. Then I talked about the food poisoning, also bacteria, virus, parasites. George talked about forcing a parasite pill on me, and I said, "Go ahead and do it, bud." And so I said, "Go ahead." I said, "I'm not taking that pill." He says, "I think I need to worm Heidi today." And then I'm not gonna there's a whole list here of what type of bacteria. I'm just giving you guys a little breakdown. And then I was talking about the rotavirus. Rotavirus, they all have the same symptoms, and it is highly contagious. That's the one I think that might have been spread through maybe undercooked meat and just spread through that. Toys, doorknobs, changing tables. But usually it takes like a couple days for that to onset, where the food poisoning hit me right away. And it wasn't from earlier in the week when I was out and about. So, and there were no kids here, and I was pretty much by myself. So, it says here, let's see, mostly from school children. I'm trying to get some of the statistics here. 17%, quite a bit, are through the young children. Um, Several hundred at and Holy Week end up at the hospitals because of this. Contaminated food, water, seasonal trends due to the holiday and everything. But yeah, so that's what's going on. I don't know where he went. He probably got stuck at the pharmacy. Hey, Gio, what is going on? And Cindy was in the house earlier, and I said hi to her. What's going on, Ted? Good morning. And let me know if you guys have dealt with this. I do hear quite often. We've been doing this for a couple years. We've been in the country for 4 years. George is a returning Filipino, and we're living here retired for those that haven't watched us and are rewatching. And um, there's a lot of people when they first get here, they get sick. And a lot of them, it's because they use the water from the sink and they get bacteria. I don't do that. We have bottled water and we have a filter, a 3 filter system on in the kitchen. And I mean, it can still happen. I mean, like you're in the shower, your mouth's open too long, but that's all that it takes, to be truthful. And we did have power outages, and we did have one Friday. So that is interesting now that I think about it, because I did take a shower and I did run the water. Not that it's, like I was all over the place and my mouth all opened up. So, hey, it's possible, but I'm still, trying to guilt George on this one. So, hey, MB, what's going on? Kay Dallas is in the house. Sperlin Edwards, good morning from La Pita. Hey, what's going on, Lou? Hey, Grammy, good morning. Black Spot is in the house. So let me know, guys. Comment. It helps our algorithm, it helps our channel, and it's much appreciated. Like every comment that comes in and we carry on a conversation, it helps the channel. So, hey, good morning, Second Wind. That and I don't look like I'm double crazy. Puppy, I thought you were coming up here. The puppy was up here. That's the. Here, come up here. Come here. I don't know why you do that. Or you could say hi. I tried to put her nails on. She has some red nails, but they're not. Here, stay here. There. I'll keep you right there. Can people see you? They see you? Yeah, I do carry her like a puppy on the back of her neck. George seen me do that. I said, but it doesn't hurt her. Hey, and she's not that heavy, by the way. Hey, you say hi? They can't see you. Can say hi? Go. Okay. What is going on? You guys saying hi, hi, hi. Good morning, Geo. What's going on? Looks like you emptied the Tums bottle behind you. This is an original one that Ted sent us a few months ago. So, he had sent us a Billy Buy-in box. I want to say, when was that, Ted? October, November, December, or December, November, December. I'd have to look. I'm confused with the last one we just got recently on the dates. So that was one of the originals. So George eats a lot of Tums. He gets heartburn a lot, but he eats spicy food. So he eats a lot of spicy food. No, I've been using the Pepto pills. It's called Kreml or something. And basically it's got the Gas X in it. And I ordered a couple dozen from South Star the other day. So, but I'm taking 2 every incident, and I'm having 4 or 6 bouts of the liquid gold a day right now. And I thought it was going to slow down yesterday, and I've had hardly anything to eat since, like, I had to start freezing things that we had bought on Mother's Day. And I just couldn't eat anything that he bought. I didn't eat the chicken. I managed to eat a chicken sandwich, but now I realize since yesterday I've been eating just plain rice, and I have to continue. But I like, you got to go get some crackers and bananas. I'm gonna go nuts. So, because there's just nothing left. So then I'm just cramping and churning. So, hey, Tony, what is going on? But let me know if you guys have. I have seen George bring you donuts, milk tea. George needs to support your diet. It appears well, here's the thing. It's all on me, and I've dieted my entire life. And I've dieted at least 3 times since I've been here. I'm um 90% of the time using a sugar substitute. It's not stevia, but it's another one that I put in my coffees now. He's brought milk tea. I've made the milk teas, and that's usually, he has brought me some every now and then, but nothing recently. But the donuts, yes, but that's the only thing, like, usually of sugar or snacks you'll see me do. So, and we don't eat Like I don't eat 3 times a day, so it seems like it. We do it on air just as content, and we it's where we're having breakfast. But I mean, I don't smoke, I don't drink alcohol, I don't do drugs, I don't have any other things, so I'm sorry, I'm at the end of my life. It's not like I'm eating fast food and fried food day in and day out. I'm going to have those donuts when I'm ready. I'm too old and too, you know, beyond repair to not do it on the occasion. I know it sounds a lame excuse, but I am taking precaution, and I do tell him that. When he comes in, he does tend to bring the candies and the sweets and the breads. But here's the thing, George eats a lot of that. What you guys don't see is he eats like 80% of that. So, itchy. Uh, so good morning, Philip. It's so let's see, 9:04. So yeah, it's about medical here in the Philippines and me catching food poisoning and the hospital. Then you would want to go in with your spouse. Do you have somebody with you? And where I feel sorry right now is for the guys that are here by themselves, because a lot of guys don't fare well when they're sick. They would just lay up in bed if they were sick like me right now. And pretty much that's what I did yesterday, but I still had to get up several like times. Like I was up like for like 2, 3 hours in the morning doing stuff, 2, 3 hours at night because George is busy or George is at his family's house. So I have to keep on. And I was going to order some bananas yesterday, but the last time I ordered the bananas through 2 different places, they tasted like mold or mildew. George says they're freezing them and they're unthawing them and then bringing them in, or the warehouse where they have the boxes, because these places tend to get them that way. It's through Panda's Food Mart. They got like a mart that just for them, they taste moldy every time. So, or the other places are either out of bananas. But so I didn't get any bananas that way for the last 2 days because we've been busy. And he went out today, and that's what I'm waiting for now. But no, it's just about in general. Do you go to the hospital or not? Have you guys experienced any of this since you've been here? What do you think of the markets with the open meat and the way, like when they go to cook something here in the Philippines, when they go to cook it with the oil, you've all experienced, or not you all, but those that are here, like almost every time they put it on this little teeny pot with little to no electricity, and it doesn't even like cook it. It just soaks down in the oil and it really doesn't cook. It's a slow cook, and I think it's not cooking the stuff in the middle, and which would cause issues. So that is for sure. Hey, what's going on? Corner Clubhouse. Hey, Slick, what is going on? Hey, what is going on, Tommy? Um, I did talk to I did talk to um, your sister, and she's like, she tried to explain things going on. So I hope you're doing well. She said you're extremely busy. So I've just, hey, what's going on, Ruby? What is going on? Scorpio full moon. Got to be something going on there, Carol, because it was a bad day yesterday. I told George, I said, I felt like I was on the Oregon Trail. All kinds of things happened yesterday. The dog food, I didn't close the bag all the way. Sometimes it's left up like they do at the stores. Like if you go to the pet food stores here, they're just bags on the ground, open up. And I left it open in the morning, and I went to go move the cage that was in there and it was on top of, and it fell down on the floor. It took me forever to clean it up. Thank God I just vacuumed, and because the cat's running around all day, there's crap all over the floor. But I was able to save their food without cat hair in it. And but it took forever to clean it up. And when you have no energy for lupus, and then take that I've had nothing but sickness, vomiting, and diarrhea since Thursday, it was bad. And I had little to no energy. And again, this is where the spouse is not around most of the time. So just because George is here doesn't mean he's here all the time. So that's the rough part. So it is. It's getting better. I'm hoping I'm drinking spiced tea now. Yeah, when you guys see me drinking the coffees that I have, I'm trying to think of the name of the sugar. I should look it up. It's not stevia. It's another plant-based sugar, and there's I think it's erythritol is the other one. I use coconut milk for the most part. I'm not going to do coconut milk. And by the way, I seen somebody trying to give advice on like what to do if the lotriamide or the diarrhea medicines aren't working. Someone was sabotaging out there talking about drink coconut milk and you should be I don't believe applesauce is safe either. I thought apple juice went through kids. I didn't know it was a constipator, but I was like everything the person was saying, I was like that would cause diarrhea. They were advising about dairy and I'm like, "No, you can't do that." And I was like, "That's the freaking internet for you, man." No, I've heard you talk about that, Geo. And I know that, your ex had talked about that. And it is a very, and stupid me, it's like being at a state fair and you're like, even at the state fair, a lot of us will be like, I don't know, that doesn't look real safe the way they're cooking it, and is it that clean because how busy it is? And I get on the hand washing. A lot of people try to act better than now, like they wash their hands like 50 times a day and they always are proper and this and that. I'm not all the time. I do the best that I can. I'm human. I'm just being real. I do after I go to the bathroom, but like I may pick up the cat and sit there and pet the dogs and not even pay attention, go right back into the kitchen and do something. So that's my point. Imagine those that are in those streets that I was showing you guys. Let me bring it back up for that aren't it's kind of they don't have any water facilities and all that dirt and stuff under his nails is not good, guys. It's just germs waiting to happen. But here's the thing, I must say this just isn't all Filipino. We've seen this in Mexico. This can happen in other countries. It's just that their street food is with the heat, it's really bad. Like that meat is raw that is sitting out there and it could sit out there for hours before they cook it. So that's the problem, guys. So is there a reason why you don't go with George when visiting the family? Not every time, but every now and then. I just don't. I don't like being over there. There's no air conditioning and I don't exactly get along with his daughter. So I mean, I'm just being totally honest. So that would be why. So there's like some family dynamic thing going on over there and there's just something that I don't like that goes on and so I don't go over there and I'm going to stay in the AC. I'm sorry. I'm not going to sit over there because ever since he got that car, he's been over there quite a bit, a lot. And so that's fine. He's allowed to, but it's something that he had the opportunity to do before and he didn't do it in Florida, but now he is. I figured that there would be a lot of that when we got here. That's fine. I'm not going to be drug over there to sit in a 100-degree house just because they're willing to deal without AC doesn't mean that I am. That is my biggest thing. So, but no, there's not, there's several factors, Ruby. Is it possible for whatever the reason you have a more serious concern going on? High cases of colon cancer there, so you want to be safer than sorry. Um, Possibly, but I'll tell you what, I'm not going to go in and start testing for that. The fact that the onset and all the things, I get what you're saying, but for me, no. And I'm not going to go look for it. I told myself when I left the United States, I will deal with only emergencies. I was just doing that before I left. So we lived 6 months in Mexico. I am here. I'm not going to go in for that's just me. You guys do what you want, but being it's self pay here, and once they get you in and start doing all those medical things, then it's more cost, and more cost. It's just where I am. I'm not going to go in for the testing looking because even if I had colon cancer, I'm not going to treat it. So that's up to who wants to go in. And I'm just doing the basic treatments right now at my age. And I don't think so, because there was nothing wrong with my stomach before. The lupus is there and it affects all my organs. And I've had that for over 4 years now. I was diagnosed with it. My daughter also has lupus. We both have lupus. And, but in a case like this, all the symptoms point towards that. So, yes, I thought about the buko juice. But oh, if you're talking about his, George had 2 or 3 containers that were in the refrigerator. I didn't want to drink it. That definitely would not help me. For the hydration, it would be. No, I have one other time. During the pandemic, he was always bringing home street barbecue, and there was one up the street from us, and there was one up on MacArthur Highway, and we were doubled down with me with both. So we were both laid out for almost a month. We couldn't do anything. So we ended up with the pandemic, what's it called? And then I ended up back then, but that's been almost exactly when we got here, so almost 4 years ago. But they said that those that are connected to those illnesses, George didn't get sick, and probably 99% of the people that ate there that day will not get sick. And one, it's because they've been doing it. I rarely do it. And the other part is my immune system. So that would be why. In the army, we used to give out charcoal tablets for food poisoning. Somebody said that. They did say to do that. They also said to get the colloidal silver. I do have a pure form that was meant to spray. There's one that's pure 100% for the dog. I'd spray it like after we would put the oil and remove ticks, and then we would put it like when he had like bites and stuff from the not the mosquitoes, but the ants outside. And so I thought about it. That's how desperate I was last night. I said, "Oh, I can just drink it out of the bottle." And I said, "No, I'm not going to do something crazy that the internet said." Although, so let me bring this down, guys. It's touchy eating pork there because many people at the street don't refrigerate. No, they usually don't. They probably got it like I showed you. That was the market at 3 a.m. and they hold on to it all day. And by the time they come to the market in our neighborhood, and you guys have seen me up at the market, I'm due to go again once I get some energy. But it just sits out there like all the shrimp, fish, and everything. And my guess is they bought it there early in the morning. And I think also they get a chance to buy it at the end of the market day. They're getting it at a discount too. And I remember Overstay Road that he was saying one time he bought some meat. He thought it was buffalo. He thought he was sold hamburger, but it turns out they mixed buffalo and some cheap pork together. There he is. He's finally back. I was wondering about that. So I remember that because he said the stuff was horrible. Hey, what's going on?
So there's a new lesson to be learned.
Oh boy, tell me about it. You missed where I said I didn't come all the way here to die on the Oregon Trail. I mean, I was laughing at George and laughing at the cat at 3 in the morning.
They won't release it without the.
Oh, do I have to go up there and?
Yeah, I have to go up there and smack some heads.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
And the lesson of the day. Well, today, what took me so long going back because of there was an accident in front of Jollibee. I didn't see the accident. I saw the cleanup crew, as it were, the fire department hosing down the road.
Where's my bananas, man?
Thank you. That's what I was getting at. Today is the day after elections.
Oh, please.
Nobody has bread. Nobody has bananas. You can go to the market right now, and you can see the spot where the bananas would be. They're all empty. Now I don't know.
Were they worried about the prices changing?
No. It's kind of weird. Whenever there's a holiday, like they wipe out the whatever's on the shelf, and then it takes them a couple days to restock. It's kind of weird.
Lou called you out for bringing me donuts and boba tea and junk food and compromising my health. I said, yeah, I think about that sometimes. I said, but George usually is the one that eats that usually anyways. I said, we do a lot of that on air. But
Well, and I mean,
but no, I was just saying because he's in the room and you have.
Well, joking aside or anything like that.
And I told him I'm actually I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do anything. So if I'm eating donuts 3 times a day at this point, if it no wood is good or something situation.
Well, first off, she does. We don't. The only time donuts makes it in the house if I bring it in, and I don't bring it in enough.
Couple times a month, but I usually only eat what you see on air. But
most of the time, when you guys see us eating donuts, that's the time I actually bring them in. I don't bring them. It's kind of like our what do you call that? It's like a celebration thing whenever we do a live or something.
Yeah.
So if we don't have donuts during a live, that means we didn't have donuts during at all.
And you switch out your glasses.
What I'm getting at is, you gotta live.
It's pretty much what I said. If I live till tomorrow every day from here, I take my medicine, I take precautions. I've cut back majorly since Mexico. We used to eat nothing but junk. Remember how much sugar and junk we used in Mexico? I was like a sugar junkie in Mexico. I was eating. We were eating tons of sugar and chocolate, and it just never stopped there. And I eat a quarter of what I did there, but I'm on steroids a couple times a day now, so that is not helping. Oh, and they called you out on your Tums. I said that's mostly George. I said he likes remember the Tums originally from Ted, which was when's the first Billy Buying box? November.
Oh, from Ted.
Yeah.
Yeah, from Ted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why? Why'd you put them up there?
Just a joke.
Oh, I see.
But no, I was showing the street food.
Yeah, and don't go to a pharmacy and ask for Tums unless the pharmacist is there. They won't know what Tums is.
Yeah. Yeah. So
the first time we went here, we asked for Tums, and the girls were just looking at us like we had 10 heads. And then we spoke to the pharmacist, and the pharmacist knew exactly what it was, but he had to explain to the girls what it was. He had to say, okay, this is this, the equivalent of that is this, blah, blah. But for the most part, unless they're pharmacists, they won't know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? As far as Western medicine is. I mean, Tums is Western.
Was somebody further down? Let's see who said that. I am not catching who said that. This is kind of moving a little bit. They mentioned like what market you went to, but basically you tried a few of the stores along the way. Did you go to S&M or
regarding now
the bananas and bread?
Well, I didn't go to a main market. No.
Yeah, so you did just some of our local
places.
I
didn't go.
There's a couple mom and pop
General,
stores,
and I didn't go inside SM. For starters, usually they're more busy.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Second off, I mean, they're still not guaranteed that they're going to be there.
Okay.
That means you sent it after.
Stop, mommy. Call her momster. She's a mommy and a monster at the same time. She tends to chase the other cats. Mommy, stop. Where's Cookie? Cookie's there. So who is she chasing? I don't know who she chased up into the corner.
BB.
Yeah.
BB's always there.
Yeah, I'll have to check. You must have afterwards. James said we never buy meat from the market. Yeah, I mean, I would recap here with you, but basically I've just been going on. I showed him footage of the Pampanga market at 3 a.m. Better to get the meat then. The one here probably gets it from there, comes out and puts it out at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It's probably the leftovers. And if they do store it, they're storing it in containers. And Filipinos can eat that stuff because their stomach has gotten used to this
No,
over.
that's correct. Yes.
But when I don't always eat the street food, and being I'm immune compromised. So I'm just telling people to be careful. And then there's a balance of the hospitals, which I wanted to talk about, and and I wanted to hear from people about what's going on. So this is all self-care. It doesn't matter if I have severe food poisoning, because I did have more blood last night. So it doesn't, someone mentioned colon cancer. I said, well, I'm not going to go in and get tested for that. It all started with the nausea and the vomiting and everything right after I ate within hours. Huh? It's hot. So
no, one of them is cool. Oh, they warmed up. Yeah, this was it, I guess.
Okay. So yeah, I already checked that. He brought me some Sprites, but so the only thing you can do, it's rare that they give antibiotics. I happen to have antibiotics, so I've been on that for a few days. Every treatment, it's self-treatment at this point. Pretty much bland diet for the next week, easy. And it should have went away by now. I mean, there really is nothing. So there's no reason. If I go in like I would in the US, they're just going to put me on an IV. They're going to run tests to see what type of bacteria. And then they're just going to put me on a bland diet, and they're going to send me home anyways. Maybe because I'm immune compromised and there was some blood, they may keep me overnight to see what's going on. They'll do that to me here, and we'll end up with a 20,000 peso bill because they're going to want to check this and that, and I'm just not going to do it.
There, depending on where you go, from what I personally seen, they will run a battery of tests that even
And
you
I'm just
will
not.
scratch your head like, is that necessary? Is that part of it? Because I'm not. It has not. Okay, it has nothing to do whether you're an expat or not. Although it probably, to some extent, it does. There are certain hospitals that will kind of run your bill up, and I'm not talking. I'm talking about personally. I've seen this personally with my own two eyes that they've done this, and I've also spoken with doctors behind the scenes,
And your brother is a doctor.
right, and they don't agree with it, but it's part of the hospital policy to run these batteries
They do
of
in the
tests.
US, but I think
Yeah,
they're
but what I'm
more
saying
on-
is, if you come in for instance, just an example, it's kind of weird. Like, no, it's hard to give an example because I don't want to. But for example, I know personally somebody who had like an X-ray and a EKG test, like, and then literally from a different hospital, and literally when they went for a checkup on the other hospital, they had the exact same test done, and it's like, wait a minute, it has nothing to do with his condition.
I'll pass.
Yet you're running these battery of tests again. And
Most Filipinos won't have all these extra tests. They don't have the insurance. And when I left the United States, I'm pretty much going to be in charge of my own care unless it's dire emergency. Then my insurance can be used in Manila. Possibly at Clark. I haven't checked into that for severe. It's kind of like the emergency things, like emergency, and it won't be for something like that. So
right, and then since how you brought up the hospitals, do your research on the hospitals before when you arrive. You look at whatever hospitals around you. Do your research. You know what I'm saying is, there are certain hospitals that even locals will stay away from. I don't want to say the hospitals here because I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want Heidi to get in trouble. And then, 'cause,
medical is a
yeah,
number one problem in retirement here.
right.
I'm not going to make it a problem because when it's my time, it's my time. And I'm not going to go into, I believe once you start tinkering with the clock, that's what messes it up. I already pretty much know what's going on. So I will treat emergency items. I will do the, like what they call the pre-care. So I'm on blood pressure medicine. I go to the doctor a few times a year, just basic, where they go in, they refill my medicine. I already know my blood pressure, where things are. And at this point, I'm not going to sit here and, it just doesn't make any sense. And we discussed that before we left the United States for sure. Um, let's see, Heidi, the thing is I don't get is how the vendors are selling all their fish in one day when people do not have money. The fish sits there for days.
It doesn't sit there for days. They do get rid of it at the end of the day. Actually, even Brian will agree with him. Brian, really in the Philippines, he ran a store, and the problem with those are horrible stock. And what I'm saying is these carinderias and these fish vendors and meat vendors, they have to they play a game, they play the guessing game every day on how much fish they purchase and how much meat they purchase, because it doesn't stay. You can't say it's the fish from the other day. Do some do it? Yes. Some do bring the fish from the other day, but you can tell. The fish smells funny, and obviously
It does at the SM store sometimes. Every time we go into the local, the whole place reeks.
well, that's what I was getting at. Yeah, when the places have some form of refrigeration, like what Heidi's talking about, these big chain stores doesn't necessarily mean better, because they have better ways to make profit.
Now they do that in the US too. They add extra
Yeah.
color, re-put it back out, and it's the same here. You'll also find expired things on, like, remember we had nothing but problems when we first got here.
All milk, for example, dairy products.
Some of the items on the shelves
Yeah.
were already expired, but they will not pull this stuff.
They won't
here.
pull the stock.
Yeah.
And what I was
So
getting
you
at,
just want to check it, but it's not all the time, guys. It's just a lookout.
right? And what I'm saying is, like, the little side fish vendor that you meet on the market cannot afford to buy ice, cannot afford to put all the fishes in a fridge.
Same
They
with when
can't-
they're cooking on the
Right.
streets. Some of them will just have their motorcycles and a table attached to the top of it. They don't have any water. They don't bring it's just, I don't even know how they even do when they do their cooking. So the same goes with when they're doing their cooking on the street. They don't always have
Oh, that's
the
another.
stuff.
Yeah, Carinderia is the same thing. I did mention, like, a lot of them cannot afford. Honestly, they cannot afford to keep the food, so most of it goes to waste. Again, it's kind of funny. Well, not really, but I spoke with one of the ladies that has a Carinderia, and she changed her Carinderia into a sari store. A Carinderia, for those of you who don't know what it is, it's one of those food stands. And she says, I can't afford it. It's too much waste. We throw away the food. It's too much food. We can't. Because you have to remember that most of these people, they can't really afford to refrigerate it. And can they give it away? Yes, but you have to realize too, some people don't want to eat it anymore because they've been doing this for years.
I still think they resell it the next day.
And
I
they-
think they
and they're
pack
sick and
it
tired
up,
of
they
it?
take it home, and they put it on a chest with ice or
No,
something
no,
else.
no. It's I
You're telling me
I
at
hate
the end
to-
of the
I-
night
I'd
they
hate to
dump
say
all
this.
that fish out at something cheap before they leave this market?
they can't afford it.
I still think that people, I don't know, but we're not built, foreigners are not built with these, iron stomachs. And I did look up, like, on, what's it called, Quora and all these other places on Facebook about people that have had stomach issues. And yeah, I found a bunch of people making the complaints. Remember I told you I found where they tried to give me a factoid that in the last 13 years, there was only 201 cases of food poisoning and virus reported in the Philippines. I was like, that can't be. Yes, this past year, there were hundreds of cases of food poisoning during Holy Week that were reported, like kids going in, people, Filipinos. And so, and if Filipinos are going in over that, then it must have been pretty bad. But I was telling them earlier that usually, women tend to be a little stronger when, it comes to illnesses. Oh, you think men handle illnesses better?
No. And so, a lot of you will agree with me.
It had to be bad if a Filipino went
even
in.
even the women will agree with me. It's not that women are stronger as far as resistance. Women just don't complain about it.
Oh, I thought it was the opposite. We complain, man. You hear me? I've been bitching. We'll bitch. I
No,
think
no.
not always, but
Women complain, but they don't turn into babies.
we push through. Like, I mean, I should have been in bed
And some of you
constantly
guys,
since
don't get me
last
wrong.
week,
I'm not
but
saying
I
all guys
have
are like
to
that, but most guys turn to babies when they're sick.
because I was telling them that I've had to push through. You have a life. Ever since you got in the car, you have spent a lot of time at your family's house with your granddaughter. Somebody asked me why I don't, or Ruby asked me why I don't go more often. I said, one, me and your daughter doesn't always get along, or we don't. And I said, and I don't want to sit over there in the heat. I got things to do. At a certain time by noon, 1 o'clock, sometimes I'm out like a light because of my lupus. So I said, this is a fact of life when it comes to Filipinas and Filipinos. You guys mostly have Filipina girlfriends or wives. They are going to spend time at that family house all the time with a family member, with their friends. They're always going to be out and about. So that's what I was telling them. But I said, I've had to push through. I mean, I've had to go through and continue to do things throughout the day. And that was another part of it, is that medical crisis in the Philippines without help is kind of geared towards a lot of these guys. If they end up with food poisoning, they're going to be in bed. I'm sorry. They're not going to be able to leave the toilet. They're not going to be able to leave the house, and they're not going to get any help. And so usually they would just be stuck. Now, thank God you can order stuff. If you have the app, you can order something, through South Star or some of these others, and Food Panda or whatever, and get something delivered. Okay. But, like when it got down, I told them when I went to go get the bread. Now, I will let you know that the SM markets and those, it does show low stock on all the breads. They've only got wheat bread right now.
That's what I told you.
But now going in may be a little different. Remember, there might be 4 loaves up there, and they're saying they don't have any. So
they might, but it's probably something I wouldn't buy.
Well, I get that. So it is showing low stock, and I told him every time we get bananas, they taste like mold or something. I don't know if the boxes are moldy, if they're freezing them. Remember, we found out they were freezing it.
That
Food
was
Panda
the other thing I
freezing.
was gonna.
They're
I was
freezing the
trying to avoid
vegetables.
too in big box stores again. I have nothing against them, but
They tend to freeze stuff.
well, they tend, like I said earlier, they can find more ways to find shortcuts or preserve the food.
Yeah. So, in saying this, you have to have a workaround. I was literally talking to myself, quite a normal situation, and probably the cats more than likely. And I was just saying that you have to find a workaround. Like when I'm having a bad day and I can't get things done, it's like I'm not going to let it, I'm not going to pack up my bags and go home like my sisters are bitching about. And I'm not going to give in and just come back at any moment, because it's not going to happen like that. You find workarounds on everything, just like you would like when you moved out of your parents' house. When you first got out there, coming to the Philippines is like really starting new. To me, this was like moving out of my parents' house. I had to learn everything when I got here. And most of these guys aren't going to get any help from their girlfriends. Most of these guys are coming to see women. Don't even kid that most of these guys are showing up from an LDR. So when you get here, you're still figure those things on your own. Do not rely on your spouse. That's the whole thing is, George does a lot of things for me, but now the dynamic of, him being here all the time, stuck on top of me, like during the pandemic, has changed. And so I've had to work around these things, which is true. The car, you've gone out and done a bunch more things. You hang out with friends. Just different things have happened. And so I have found now, I'm like, well, crap, I really do have to sit here and figure these things out. So, which is a good thing. So when it comes down to, I try to get frozen items, or I try to do more of my own cooking. I'm down to pasta and rices. I went to tofu, which, by the way, you could still have issues with it. We went to the dry tofu, the soy flakes at some point, which, by the way, soy flakes tofu is a supplement for the meat. They basically brown that stuff up. We found that they were using that at the restaurant across the street. They make taco meat out of it. And I showed you how they do that because we've used the soy flakes. And they rehydrate it with water and they add all the beef bouillon to it. And then they use it for the taco meat. Yes, I know. She thinks she's smart. She's trying. She's pulling on something over there.
Mary.
Yeah, she's pulling on one of the backpacks. What are you doing? Huh? No, she's trying to get behind me. But I tend to get frozen items. So now I know Food Panda tends to sell. We haven't had any problem. We get like the same vendor. Like we've been able to get frozen hamburger. We've been able to get frozen chicken and things like that, or we just order out a whole roasted chicken. Now, someone asked me if I had this before. I said, yes, I'd gotten a chicken one time a long time ago when we first got it. I remember when it made me sick from SM.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I said, we were down for the pandemic and I ended up. So it's not the first time that we actually had it. Get well, that street food will terminate you. Plus the cooking oil is hardly ever changed. Yeah. So all I can do is ride it out. He tried to obtain additional antibiotics, but they're not having it. But that's
There's
okay.
a reason why this was back there.
What's that? I know. I can't. They pulled that out. That was pulled from under.
Yeah. See now they'll squish the plug.
I'm aware of it. They took that out. I don't have the energy to pull that out and put it in there. He's talking about the plug is right at the back near the couch. There's a stopper that stops it, but the pets got under there and got it. They've been up underneath there like crazy. So no, I hear you on that. Can you actually describe the actual stand that where you got the meat? Was it just a regular?
I told you no,
I'm just having
it's
you tell them.
decent. It's actually decent. It's huge. It's got a big giant like banner sign and no, it's decent. A lot of people come there. They even have delivery service.
I mean,
It's not a little tiny operation. Okay, is it tiny? Yes, by corporate standards, but as far as carinderias go, no, it's no people. You can tell people go there on a regular
yeah, I'm
basis.
just asking you which type was it. So
Yeah, and again, I'm fine.
I told you why.
I know
Autoimmune issue.
that, but what I'm saying is it. What I'm saying is to Filipinos, it's probably okay.
Yeah, I mean, you've been fine as far as eating the food. I mean, you do it a lot more than I do as far as although I was telling people it could happen when I order the Jollibee chicken sandwiches and
Oh yeah, I mean,
they could undercook it that way, but
actually, we've gotten some undercooked chicken that way.
so yeah. Yep. Every time we visit the Philippines, we are very careful. Street food, grilled or barbecue is what we do enjoy, but not pre-cooked meals unless it's a reputable eatery and Canaderia. Hey, our Philippine journey is in the house. What's going on? Hey, there's Earn Doggy Full. What is going on? Can you use your health insurance there? I know if you have Medicare, it's accepted there. No, it's not. I don't know where people get that. I don't know who you've been listening to. It's rare that they do. If you have a supplement and you're still up in the United States or have where it's actually working, sometimes after you're outside the country, I believe it is more than 6 months, you have to report to them to get them to use it. It's for emergencies only. I can't use it just to go in and say I have food poisoning. No. It would have to be where I need open heart surgery or it'd have to be something pretty serious. Medicare rarely reimburses, and it has to be that you're not living here. I'm a permanent resident. I've been here for 4 years. Medicare does not pay for people outside in the Philippines just randomly just reimbursed. And you definitely would have to be reimbursed. We've seen where 2 or 3 people claim that's happened, but they've never provided proof on that. So And no, I cannot get cheap travelers insurance plans. Goldfinger, I thought had medical issues. I have medical issues. I know he's got medical issues, so I don't know how he got one, and I don't know if it would actually be cheap. So that's where I'm at on that. And usually that's only if you're traveling. Goldfinger lives here. He's not a traveler anymore. I mean, isn't that some sort of defraudment in itself if you tell them you're traveling using traveling insurance and you're actually living permanently here like he has? He owns a motorcycle business and everything else. And whether he's married now or getting ready to get married, isn't that permanently living somewhere? It's no longer traveling insurance. There's got to be stipulations in the insurance. You usually would use something like that when you actually, I mean, I'll look that up, but I'm pretty sure that's the stipulation.
Well,
And I know he's got medical conditions.
whether it is or it isn't, again, because I'm not a lawyer nor am I an insurance guy, although I do tend to agree with Heidi's saying, but whether okay, let's say traveler's insurance, depending on the situation, you guys have to remember they do have, you know, they do send PIs to check out to see if your claim is valid. This is a real thing. I've worked with PIs, well, not work, what hang out with PIs that actually did this. They even sometimes ask me, "Hey George, can you drive by this house and see if that car is there?" That kind of deal. Okay, yeah, sure, why not? And then you know what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is, they're usually insurance things. And what I'm getting at is, it doesn't take a big PI to figure out to go online and go on his channel and figure things out. If that's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is the travelers insurance thing. Again, I'm not saying
I mean, it's
legalities.
possible.
Well, right. That's what I'm
I've,
saying. I'm not saying any legalities
but
or
I know
anything.
medical
But
conditions
they do
are,
for big claims. They will, hire PIs or have their own team to investigate, and it doesn't take long to figure out to sit down and watch Goldmember and figure out where he's at.
yeah, it says here, and I've looked it up over and over again. No, travel insurance is not generally designed for people who are permanently living in a
No,
country.
no,
And Goldfinger's been here for a while. He hasn't been here 3 months, 6 months. He's been here for a long time.
Well, like I said, I'm just telling you this.
And he's got medical. And I know when you have pre-existing, and I attempted to get something additional after we got in the country, got turned shot down every time.
Well,
Strictly just on the lupus. And
no.
it's weight based, and I know he's not skinny. So they start to ask, are you 40 pounds overweight? They start going through all of that. Your medical history, whether you're overweight. I get that. But Goldfinger is no spring chicken either.
Well, I'm not talking about Goldfinger in particular, but like I said, what I'm saying is it's kind of like the Social Security thing. It's one of those. Should you report that you live in the Philippines or should you not? Technically, you should report that you're in the Philippines.
But most of them don't.
When you actually call Social Security, it actually tells you that. But what I'm saying is a lot of people don't. Now, that's up to you. Now, same thing with travel insurance. That's up to you whether you adhere to the policies or not. But I'm just letting you guys know the consequences of not following policies on insurance is they do have investigators. And again, if you're a vlogger,
well, this guy must watch the channel. The fact he would advise you
again, I'm
can
just saying,
get very cheap traveler's insurance plan to cover, not when you've been out in the country more than.
Right. Bottom line, I don't recommend to get traveler's insurance if you currently live in that particular country, because especially if you're a vlogger, it doesn't take much to figure out where you live at that point.
The Philippine government just confiscated, a truckload of white onions contaminated with salmonella. Yeah, it was a little bit back. I think I read that last week in the news. Now, I don't know if the government just threw that on top of there because it was funny. They announced that it was confiscated even further back. They had gotten a whole bunch of them. And then all of a sudden they came back and said, oh, it also had salmonella. So it was, I don't know what type of government, thing they were doing, but then they made another announcement that it had salmonella in it.
Okay, so no, I'm not
some sort of conspiracy thing. My mind.
Heidi has a point there. I'm not gonna say whether it was contaminated with salmonella or not. If you're familiar with onions and how they keep fresh or not keep fresh, that's not really, well, you question that, that's fine, that's up to you. It doesn't take a genius to figure out what's really going on here. But what I'm saying is the salmonella story, whether it's true or not, the reason why it's contaminated with salmonella is because Philippines has a tendency to destroy stuff, food, good food, or good vehicles. You know how the U.S. confiscates vehicles and then they auction them off and get money off of them? Philippines doesn't do that. They will literally destroy these Ferraris, these Bugattis that they find. They literally crush them. And what I'm saying is, same thing with food. Doesn't matter whether the food is good or not. They will destroy the food, and they
Maybe
get a lot of flack for
maybe the
this.
rightful owners came up with the proper permits they had after they confiscated, and then they said it was bad just to, they do tend to seize things pretty quick. Here, one second. I was wanting to. Yeah, so I think you.
What are you doing?
Oh, nothing. I was showing you.
Yeah, that won't play for me. Maybe he's
See,
just
he's dangling.
parkouring.
See? No, he stepped out there. They said he was. Yeah.
Maybe he's crazy.
Wow, that was pretty.
I guess he's crazy.
No, he wasn't trying to parkour. That was intentional. And then he dangled.
Yeah. Now, Philippine P, you weren't here in our last live, but we did touch that real quick. What do the Philippine citizens think about the new pope? Um, Again, like most of you think, or I don't know if most of you, but ever in the last live, a lot of people kind of agreed. The new pope was chosen for political reasons, in my opinion, and
Many have said that.
and
Yes.
a lot of Filipinos think the exact same way, because it's kind of like, you guys have to remember, we live in, the Filipinos do anyway, and in fact, I am wearing a brand new scapular right now. I mean, I just literally changed it last night.
Do you think that will save your soul?
Actually, I do. Now, actually, that's not how it works, by the way.
Not tonight, it won't.
Now, what I'm getting at is Filipinos are Catholics. Born, most of them are born and raised Catholic. Majority of us are Catholics. It is mostly. I get it. There's other religions here. I'm not discounting that. But what I'm saying is the problem that we face in the Pope issue, as I told Heidi.
Don't lose too much time in religion. I got
No,
tariffs
no,
to
no,
talk
no.
about.
Well, the thing is, most Filipino priests and most, Italian priests, they literally become priests. They go into seminaries right during high school.
Okay.
They haven't even touched anybody yet, for the most part. Most of them have not.
Okay. So I don't think they know what did you mention? Okay, never mind.
No. I'm saying is, now a pope status is very high. It's the pinnacle of being a Catholic priest. What I'm saying is, for you to become pope, you practically have to check all those boxes.
Okay, so you're talking about the rumor out there that he had slept. There's a woman out there saying that she slept with him when she was 19 years old before he became the Pope, long time ago. I mean, you're mentioning the purity thing.
Well, I wasn't going to mention that, but
Oh.
I mean, people are, adults enough to figure out what I'm saying.
Oh, gotcha. No, when you were talking about it being politically tied, I was thinking about, they just said, you probably didn't catch up with it. They're dropping the tariffs to 30%. That's still going to hit the country hard. So they put that pause back on, and instead of it being at 145, it's going to be 30% or 15% on both sides. I think they said 30 from both sides. That's still going to hit the country hard. 30 cents on the dollar. That's still going to be a shake in the wallet, man.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. You throw that out there. It's kind of like telling people, hey, I'm going to raise your rent to $4,000. Suck it. And then afterwards saying, you know what? I'm just going to charge you 2,000. Yay. This is something weird that I'm feeling, and a bunch of the news stations and vloggers and everything have been talking about it. But it's kind of like he threw him a bone, and I get that he's doing all these things, but then he turned around and he's putting out that one big beautiful budget, and he's literally asking for 9 or 10 trillion dollars. It's like insane. It's going to be the largest whatever ever. But what's he going to put it towards? And let's not even get on the airplane situation. I still think that's pure bribery, but we'll leave that one off the table. So that's all I got to say about that one. What do you think about that beautiful airplane? You said that, was it Lyndon B. Johnson got a new car? Nothing close. What is it? Who you said got a new car?
Oh, I didn't mention a name.
Oh, Truman? Taft?
I think it was Roosevelt, I believe.
Yeah, crazy. Still an airplane, that's a lot. Was it $500 million? It doesn't matter. That's still an awful nice gift. But anyways, let's move on here. Ice and non-bottled water is a no-no, and I've broke that so many times. You guys have no idea how many times I've broke that when I'm thirsty. And maybe that's contributed to me not being on the Oregon Trail laying next to a dead raccoon right now for like real. Like, I didn't come here all the way to the Philippines to live the Oregon Trail life. Wait, what are you looking at, Cookie? Huh? Oh, your eye needs wiped. You would think KFC would have filtered ice. Yeah, because I told him that I had that iced tea that we got when we got that caramel chicken about a week and a half ago. And I said I break that all the time when we get those drinks from the restaurants. But usually they should have a good filter, but that's only as good as the people that keep changing it. I mean, everything is out of stock. They never keep up on anything. Ordering anything anywhere, restaurant, stores, or not. So I don't trust that anybody's changing those items.
Okay, well, in all fairness, this is not a Filipino thing. First
No,
off,
it could happen.
First
Yeah, the
off,
7-Elevens are
most
nasty in the US.
Filipino restaurants and U.S. restaurants, if you run a restaurant business, they usually run a inline filters, and they're usually on the wall in the very back end of the building. Also, the problem you guys face, I'm talking about everybody, us and you guys, and I'm talking about the U.S. because I've actually seen this more in the U.S. because, what do you call that? The fountain drinks are not popular here, so I've seen this more in the U.S. The problem you have with fountain drinks or dispensers, as it were, for in restaurants, they don't maintain them. Remember, I'm not talking about the Philippines here. I'm talking about in general.
And I
But
said
in the U.S., I've seen
this could happen.
They don't maintain them. The ice. Do you really think that ice machine on top of a fountain
Philippines,
thing?
India is really scary on this stuff.
Again, babe, I'm telling them in the U.S.
Yeah.
In the U.S., you really think that they clean out
restaurants,
that ice dispenser, that where you guys get your ice from 7-Eleven? Yeah. Do you really think they clean it? No, they don't.
Yeah.
In fact, most of the time, whenever I go to see a soda fountain dispenser, I check for algae. You know, in the spigots where the soda comes out, because that's where the buildup is. What I'm saying is, the scary part is not the water. That's the least of your worries. It's the actual machines that dispense said water, said ice, said soda. That's the danger. And again, you don't see it much here because, again, you go to a restaurant here, they're not going to give you a fountain drink. They'll give you a can of Coke, right?
Yeah, they tend to give out cans of soda here. The Philippine MP said get a blood test and make sure you don't have Hep A or Hep B. That's kind of out there. Them are none of the symptoms. But the biggest thing you would have to worry about over food poisoning and the virus in the stomach would be the other one we talked about the other day. The what's the cough-borne one? I forgot I just mentioned it now. It just went off the top of my head. but I get blood tests all the time. I don't have, and I've been vaccinated also. So not that you still can't get it, but I've had the series of shots, but no, I don't. None of the signs of that. Um, what is the other one? The Philippines has the biggest cases of it. The one it's spread through cough.
Oh, TB.
TB, sorry, tuberculosis. Yeah, it just went off the top of my head. Tuberculosis. When she mentioned Hep A and Hep B, yes, that would be a big concern for certain situations, but for me, no. Hey, what's going on? Harry, what's going on? China is the scourge of Southeast Asia. Yeah, they're going back and forth on that. I allow a couple of months before I drink and eat at restaurants with local ice and at malls. I let my immune system build up. Yeah. And I've recently, like, I think around Christmas time, started dosing a second dose at night because of how sick I've been. So that it makes my immune system even weaker. And that's the funny thing is, steroids should be helping my inflammation right now. The stomach, the cramping, and my mother had Crohn's disease really bad. And I started thinking that, there was a lot of different things going on, but it was too sudden onset with all the symptoms and nausea and everything. But the it's kind of lost my train of thought there when I let Ruby's thing down. But I did wait a while, and with my immune system and me being on steroids, yeah, I was starting to say that taking the steroid should be helping all my symptoms, but it's not. So then I know that I really got nabbed by something nasty. I already blamed you when you weren't here. I didn't blame you. No.
You probably did.
No, I was honestly. What's wrong? And the remote? Yeah. Oh man, last time I did that, why? Sorry. Okay.
My
Yeah, I
second
know.
trip in the Philippines, I was in Cebu. I ate some barbecue from a store one night and felt like death at midnight.
I did order some extra medicine, but it's basically what I already have. I was telling people, all I can tell you guys is when you come here, if you're just visiting for 2 weeks, we told you to make yourself a little kit. I would bring a crap load of Imodium because you're going to need 2 every incident, and I've already went through a crap load. And really, I should stop taking it at this point, but because you should only be on it so long, definitely without going to a doctor's. I know what the limits are on it. So, and even one of my medications that I naturally take should be helping. And it's not. It's one of the heart meds I'm on, and supposedly it's supposed to help with that, and it's still not stopping it either. So, you're gonna want to bring the Tums. This stuff is called Kreml. I just had it out here earlier, but I ordered one that's called Kreml S, and then it's called Cool on it. It's from Unilab, but basically it's a antacid and a pepto and a gas relief in one. And most people that take that for a day or two, along with the Imodium, it usually gets them through it. Mine has not stopped, but it probably won't be that bad for you guys. Again, it's probably just my immune system. So
yeah. Lou says, Heidi, can George find a maid to make healthy food for you? The maid can shop for fresh vegetables every day for soups or salads at least, and maid can cook for you at least twice a week.
yeah, one, we can't afford it, and eating healthy really kills our budget. Unfortunately, fresh vegetables and fruits in the Angel City, Mabalacat area are costly, very costly. And so we do a balance, and no, and here's, even let's say it does eat up our budget, we cannot allot that much money for something like that. It'll be a matter of finding somebody. We've thought about having somebody come in and help with different things, but with 2 of us not working, not really, and being here, we just haven't done it. So it's a mix of things, but no, and it's not going to help having somebody come in here and do sandwiches and and do those meals are not it's just not going to help. So it's going to be costly.
Yeah,
And finding the right person to hire in would be bad.
Yeah, Gio says I would only buy seafood that just arrived at the market on ice. Now, to clarify again, what Gio said is correct, but I'm just clarifying that if it's saltwater fish, it would be on ice. If it's freshwater fish, it should still be alive. Remember that. If it's freshwater fish, it should still be alive. They usually have basins of water, and then they have the freshwater fish there swimming around. In fact, even without water, Heidi's seen this herself. We bought fish from a lady several times. When the fish got to us, they're still so alive that when we're at the house, they're still jumping, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking at the sugar that.
Yeah. So remember that what Gio said is correct. Yeah, make sure that the fish is on ice, and if it's freshwater, most of the time they're usually alive. If basically it's simple. If you're at the wet market and you look, if there's freshwater fish, and if this vendor has them alive swimming, and the other one doesn't, well, I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure out where to buy the fish from. Then
Yeah, that's the only time. And then I told him we buy stuff frozen. We found from Shopee that they do, like when we got the ribs, they were frozen ribs by the time they got here, and we left them out for about an hour. They thawed out. We've never had any issues, but we cooked that shit like for a few hours. It falls off the bone. So you know that even if there was something, it got cooked like a mofo. When we get the ribs, we haven't had ribs in a while. So basically, we just cook it in like a beef broth, and then I use tomato sauce. And by the way, let's see, what's her name just asked about that. It's monk fruit and aloes is what I've been using. It's usually allulose. Hey, what are you doing? And there's another one that we use, but it's mostly the allulose. So I think the other one's the erythritol. But yeah, I was telling him that every time I do the what's it called, the stevia, I've been end up with migraines. But I'm prone to migraines.
yeah. Gio says, yeah, it's a crapshoot for sure. My first 9 days in the Philippines, I spent on the toilet.
Yeah.
There you go.
Not
True
too far
story.
in for that. And to go to the doctors, Gio would know about that. You just don't run to the doctors. When you have insurance and you didn't have much of a copay back in the day, we all were running. We're hypochondriacs in the United States and other countries, and we just run to the doctors on a hangnail. And the more the doctors bring you in, you know how that system works. They're overcharging us for medicine, the appointments. They're making a ton of money. They keep you in that office just to make money. Like they got to keep you in there for X amount of time. And it's all a scam. The whole medical system's a scam. I knew when I left the United States, I wasn't going to deal with that shit no more. I know my medical conditions. I know my limit. I know I'm obese. I know all of this. I'm going to live my best life right now. And I've been at George about eating healthy. I've been at him. Does he cut back and not do it or whatever? Yeah, I can't tell George to do nothing like he can't tell me. That's just where it's been, man.
Like the spot says, agave.
We take steps to like preventions, like the heart meds. Like don't stop stuff like that that'll just stop you in your tracks. And don't sit around eating 90 pieces of fried chicken a day or a shitload of candy bars in a day or something. That would, some people, but then again, they'll make judgment that not you guys specifically, eat donuts, but then those are the same people that are out having unsafe sex and drinking 12 beers a day and a bunch of shots of whiskey all day. So it's weird how people would judge you with the bad things that they do versus, mine's just more visible.
Like a spot says agave. Lucas says take hydrate to dehydrate. Oh, to rehydrate. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
what these are is the hydrating pills.
Jen says, hi, Heidi. Hope your day is amazing. Laura says, hi, Heidi.
Hey, Laura. I seen her on her live today. She was working out. I told her, I said, I used to go 6 days a week, and I would spend 30, 40 minutes on the equipment, and then I was in the swimming pool. Yeah.
Laura says, I do not go anymore to a lot of my husband's country's functions. They speak their language. I felt like an outsider. I said no more.
Yeah, I told him that I just don't, one, because of situations, and that I just, I'm just not.
White Samurai says eat street food to save a few pesos, then go to the hospital and pay big dollars. Makes sense.
That would be like I would still be alone if we were back in the US and you were still running at 16 hours a day, 6 days a week. I would still be alone to deal with my own medical, take myself to the medical. It just makes it more difficult here when he's not around. And in the beginning, when we first started this channel, he was here a lot because we were locked down, then the country reopened, and then we would take grabs when we went places, and then the car came along. And so I'm not going to sit here and fight with George when he wants to go somewhere. And although you guys believe in that, so he does a lot more. So a lot of this is that same thing's going to happen with you guys as expat males. Your female is going to go off and do things. And I'm not believing these guys are going to their houses every single freaking time that they take off to go to a family's house. And that's not even the dispute today. I just wanted to tell people in a medical crisis, they may not be around, or you may be dealing with it on your own or in your own thing, because right now I don't feel this is a medical emergency. It's serious, but I'm not going to, but I've had to pretty much figure a lot of things on my own. So nothing wrong with that.
The second one says if you live close, I would get you some bananas. I got 4 Tressa, now full of them. I freeze them myself to make smoothies later, but I peel them and freeze them.
Yeah, I'm checking right now to see if I can.
Neil says I've never eaten street food in my entire time in the Philippines, not taking a chance. Philippine Prepping says you can drink colloidal silver. You can make it home. I did not know that.
They said that. Gio said military, it's charcoal. Like I could. And you know what, Gio? Now that you mention it, my mom had severe Crohn's disease, needed surgery. Actually, with her cancer, it's what ended up causing her to be unalived at 50 years old. She ended up bleeding out after a surgery. But every time she had the Crohn's and there was that, they had her drink the charcoal. They fed her the charcoal. She hated it.
Yeah,
but it helps with inflammation.
That's happened to me before. I went to the hospital and they gave me charcoal. Yes.
For diarrhea and for stomach and all that.
I was really sick.
Huh.
They said it'll get rid of the impurities.
Interesting.
I forgot about that.
The toxins. Yeah, because they still said that it's hard saying what was in the meat. It might be there were some sort of toxins in the pork, the pig itself. Could have drank contaminated water that had something, like right now, all day yesterday on top of it. I was starting to tell you guys I had a bad day yesterday. The kittens are all fighting each other. They've been burning plastic again in the neighborhood. So the machines were lighting up red in the house. And I told George I've been smelling plastic. He goes, no, I don't smell it. I did, which then I made the mistake to use a neti pot yesterday and I waterboarded myself, literally. And then the salt saline they gave me was so bad, it burned the back of my throat. So I almost choked to death. I could not stop. That I thought it was going to do me in yesterday. So I released the button, it went in, I waterboarded myself. And then before I went to go put some lipstick stuff that I got on Lazada that's supposed to shine up your lips and hydrate, they burned the crap. There was something in there I had an allergic reaction to. And my freaking lips were on fire yesterday. And I'm like, golly, could anything else? I said, let me just lay down. I said, I was trying to get something done. But yeah, anyway, so but yeah, but
I'm married to a Filipino, but yet to see any Philippine street food that looks appetizing enough to risk getting sick.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me.
Laura says we have a lot in common. Sarah Tyson says, hey, I forgot to say hello, Heidi.
Hi, sweetie.
Peter for Life says, I do love Chowking Lumpia and their sauce.
No, everything at to be delivered, indicating their stock at SM. And it says everything's out. It says low stock when you go to place
during the holidays. The bananas disappear. I'm just saying.
It is weird, and the bread. Yes, I couldn't find
they just
that
disappear.
for the last 2 days before election. It's all said low stock. If I place an order now, it'll come back in 20 minutes and say they'll cut it off the list.
The bread will be there before noon or something like that. So again, like I said, I don't know how it works as far as that part is concerned.
And here's the thing, they're still selling bananas. So what they sold us the bananas the stores are actually still showing $3, or it'd be $1.50 a pound, or $3 for a kilo, which is 2 pounds. Yeah, so that's $1.50. So how much are bananas in your guys' area per pound? So it's 150 is what they're showing here. Now, mind you, in different areas of the Philippines, or if you go down to the market early morning and you know, it could be probably, what is it, probably at 100 per kilo? It's 140 right now.
Per
So
kilo.
what is it at the market? About 100, 100 and
About 100.
when that guy when the guy goes by on his bike, that's about what he sells it for. Is about 100 pesos. So
Yeah, but you have to make money.
no, I know.
Donuts are your cheat sugary treat. Lucca says no bread, no bananas, any supermarket near. No, it's not that. Like I said, Lucca, it's during the holidays they just disappear, and that's why when I walked in, that's what I said. It's one of those things I forgot.
Now here is a different type of banana at $2 for it's $1 a pound, but it's totally different. I don't even know what
Oh,
that
but yeah,
is.
George, you have a cat on your shoulder. Did you know that? My wife drove to New York this past weekend for graduation. She brought back 3 boxes of Dunkin' Donuts. I'm gonna have 3 today. There you go.
I seen that. Looks to be that was the thing to do on Mother's Day. All over Facebook, there was these companies and guys delivering to mothers, and they all had donuts and flowers. And I was like, man, they must be rich because it was 2 dozen donuts, and that could add up to about 1,000 pesos for 2 dozen donuts. And then the flowers they were selling for about 1,500 for a small bunch. So I was like, man, that's like $60. I said, there's some rich people, man.
Rob Morrison said, "Now this is a thing. Funny you can't find some common stuff you see in the West. Can't find sunscreen or pickles anywhere. Sunscreen is
Yeah.
not a thing here. I get it. It has nothing to do with the coloration of your skin, but sunscreen is really not a thing here. Do Filipinos use it? Only the well-to-do Filipinos use it, of course. Does it exist? Yes, but it's extremely expensive. And just go to your major pharmacy chains. They have it. It's just more than you're accustomed to, if that makes any sense. Pickles. Pickles is not a thing here. The same thing with mustard. Mustard is not a thing here. What I'm saying is they're not going to stock something that people don't usually eat. So, but is it here? Yes, of course. Pickles and sunscreen are here. Mustard is here. Um, Parmesan cheese is here. You just have to go to the better places, so to speak.
There you can make 'em, I
SM,
mean
Landers, that kind of deal. Pepto Patriot for Life says Pepto-Bismol is an oldie treatment that coats your stomach, good for rum and whiskey hangover.
right?
Well, yes, I understand, but it's not common here too. Just remember that. So, again, check out your local pharmacies when you arrive here, not just for the medicine, just to see for basic stuff. And don't look for Pepto-Bismol. Pepto-Bismol is the brand. I think it's Bismuth, right?
What's that?
Pepto-Bismol.
I believe it's the Kreml here. It's called
Kreml
Kreml.
S. Well, that's a brand name too.
Oh, well, that's the ingredient.
That's the
is what-
ingredient.
Yeah.
Well, then, yeah. Don't ask for the.
I showed it to him earlier.
Yeah, don't ask for the Western name. Ask for the generic name. Lost in the PH says, are there travelers probiotics or something like? There's probiotics here.
And I have drank one for the last 2 mornings.
Yakult is a thing here.
But isn't that got a milk culture? I tried to avoid it because Jiminy Crickets, you guys.
It's
She almost
liquid
flipped her
yogurt.
off there. She's waiting. Watch Mary.
Yeah.
She waited for them to flip off over there. The cats are all playing, and she almost flipped over, and she almost caught the kitten, and then the kitten flipped back up, and the dog's waiting to catch the cats. So off the furniture over there.
You can take to help your stomach adapt to the food and avoid food poisoning.
Okay, so it looks like we might be able to.
Okay.
What's that? Did you notice I put George in sicky though? I'm always putting something in there.
MGD says addiction of sugar causes damages to bodily organs, eyes, and your brain. Well, sugar is
And so
not
does
good for you.
alcohol and a bunch of other
Well, I'm
things.
saying sugar
No, it
in
is. It's
general
bad. Yeah.
is not good for you.
Nothing
Period.
is good for you. Nothing
Yeah.
is good. And that's just, at my age and the way I feel these days, that's kind of how I feel on that is that there's always nothing is good for you anymore. Nothing is. And by the way, excessive vegetables for me is another problem. So I can't handle all the what they call the roughage or something. So I have the gastric bypass where most of my stomach is stapled, and processing it through my shortened intestines is another issue. So every time I eat something like that, it makes me sick too. So
Yeah. Gia in the Philippines says I take probiotics daily, and I think it helps. Yes, they do. They do. Black Grandma says there are ways to check to see the fish is fresh. I'm from Jamaica, and there are ways to check. For the most part, there's several ways. The only one that I know is check the eyes to see if they're clear or they're bloodied. Um, that's the only one I know. Some of you may obviously know more than I do as far as that concerned. Someone says I have to take Dexilent every day. Best heartburn meds ever. I had to have surgery at 20 for my tummy issues. Oh, I see. Yeah, sorry to hear that. Second one. No, that's rough. That's rough. Yes. Patriot for Life says your DNA is dictator of health. Yes, unfortunately. Like I says, if you're going to the wet market, you got to find a legit seller who sells fish. Oh, fresh produce. You can always buy and stick to. Don't buy anywhere else. Always go there early. No, stick to one seller. And the reason being is it's a trust thing. Yeah, it's Suki.
yeah.
What it is, it's if you constantly some of you like don't care to have a relationship with a buyer seller relationship. I get it. That's not it. The reason why you want to stick with it, it's same thing with gas. If you go to different gas stations and you get one day bad gas, you wouldn't know where you got the bad gas from. That's why you want to stick with one seller. That way, if you bought something bad, you know where you got it from, and then you can either address it, talk to them, or just don't go back.
And it's easier because usually it's on the way home because a lot of people will address. It seems we get a lot of questions about, well, why aren't you going directly to SM? Because it takes forever to get through SM, and the other big stores are in the mall, so that's a whole hassle of a trip. And it's just not popping into Walmart and back out. Now they are opening a Walter Mart. I don't know how much better that'll be when that opens, whenever it opens, like popping in and popping out, but I'm sure it's going to be a hot mess there for a while. And then we do go to Landers and everything. So, oh, thank you so much, Linda.
Thanks so much, Linda. Appreciate your support.
Thank you so much. And drink my tea. Thank you.
Yeah, guys, don't forget to give a thumbs up. Share the video. Heidi always gives Heidi a
I don't
smile.
give a damn today. I'm cussing out family members and people, and I hope we don't get no deliveries today because I'm gonna be cussing them out too. And I'm be crossing anybody off my list today.
Right.
Jeez.
MGD
Maybe
says try fasting or
somewhere.
restrictive eating to get that sugar addiction. Well, again, there's sugar addiction. Again, it's up to the person if they want to kick it off.
Did that too.
Yeah, but again, you just.
I did that for I've done it all, and it comes easy from somebody that doesn't. I get the advice, and it works for some. I went through all of that, and I'm just not doing it no more. I'm done. There just becomes some breaking point in your life, especially for women that know, whether it's a woman that was 20 pounds overweight or overweight their entire life. I wasn't overweight till after I had kids. And yes, sugar is one of my addictions. And then I went through all these dieting. I've done everything, and I have everything. I have thyroid conditions. I've now been on steroids. None of that's going to make a difference. All of that, George knows. Who's been studying all that stuff the last couple years? Me. And I know, and it won't work if I have a hormonal imbalance, if I'm taking steroids, all that fasting stuff. I still do. I stop eating after a certain time at night. And I do that every day. And I don't eat for 12 hours. I don't sit there and snack through the night. I don't sit around eating candy. And I've done. What is that? Is it announcing the mayor won? Is it announcing? Isn't she a female that won this time?
Oh, I don't know.
Is it the Akina or who won? Did they say? Okay. Anyways, yeah, there's a new mayor here. But no, I've done all that. So, everybody's going to be different. Everybody's going to be different. Ain't nobody tried on this earth but me. And now I don't give a rat's ass and I don't give a shit. At this point, if I live tomorrow and then I'll worry about that day the next time, I'm on Filipino time, baby. Hey, what's going on? Thanks, K Dallas, for the super
Hey,
sticker.
Dallas, thank you so
I'm gonna
much.
spend that on Pepto Bismol.
Yeah, they're so cute too. Thank you so much. Yeah, you guys, I can't put them up here on the screen, but yeah. AGO, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yeah, like Linda's was a fox. K Dallas was a hippo, and then that's a hippo too. Geo in the Philippines sent a hippo. Yeah.
No, I mean everybody's been through something, and I'm hoping that you guys are giving me this advice, trying to help me. Now, in the past, people have done it because they're just like being kind of like, you need to, it'll better these things. Nobody knows more than George and people that know me that I've tried, and I still do. Believe me, I'd love to just sit up in this place. I was just staring down some caramel popcorn, and I haven't been able to eat much since, Thursday. And I'm like, no, I can't do it. It's got sugar, it's got this, and that. And I stop myself all the time. I do make, George knows I make a lot of responsible
When Heidi
decisions.
says caramel popcorn, you guys don't understand. These are not your typical caramel popcorn.
No, these things are.
These are good. These are puffed popcorn.
It's basically like cereal almost, but
yeah, they're really addictive.
I mean, like this stuff here. This is deadly. This stuff is deadly, but I've told George a million times to stop drinking this before he has a heart attack. You drink enough, babe. How many a week do you drink?
I drink one when you see one. How many have you seen? When was the last time you've seen this?
I don't know, a couple a week.
Even the people tell you, because I actually show it on camera most of the time.
Anyways, people got bad habits. That's all I got to say.
No, I don't drink enough of this.
If you take a percentage of people that stay on that straight trail of fasting, I just went through the fasting thing at the beginning of the year again and near Christmas. I did it last year and did it. And after about 90 days, I fall off the wagon because I do something drastic. Like this time I went on the high fat diet and did all this and cut out all the carbs and cut out on the fruits and vegetables and everything. And it was too much. It was too much at once, plus the fasting. And I always burn out quick. And I pretty much do stop. And, I understand trying to better, but I am in an uphill battle with lupus. Let me know when you guys have lupus and go through all of that. And then dealing with all the side stuff. It is not easy on the steroids and the lupus and little to no energy. And that's it. I mean, it's just been rough, guys. So I do my best every day and I add a little bit of everything to it. And that's pretty much it.
Lupus is actually, again, I've known about lupus before I met Heidi, and it's not a pretty thing. It's not an easy thing.
It's weird.
It's not something that you can fix by just changing your diet. It's a serious thing. It's in the US.
Helps.
It's actually, I've never heard of lupus up until I got to the US, to be honest with you. But it's here too, obviously. But since now that
I think my mother had it. I think when they said that her blood count was off and it started talking about her blood work, my mom had cancer, but it was a lot like leukemia. It affected all of her organs, and she passed away before 50. And I still think she had lupus. So my daughter has it and was diagnosed a few years ago, and I was a few years ago. And I couldn't explain everything hurting. It gets so bad, it feels like somebody's beat me up with a baseball bat. So yes, because I've been less moving, I have put on substantial weight. I was already plus size. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I've really put on the weight.
And size has nothing to do with it. Don't think that.
No, I get around.
Like Selena Gomez had it
Mm-hmm.
since she was a younger star. She's always had it. And again, the first time I knew of lupus was this young skinny girl, and all she did was
It's like you
basically,
got a constant flu is the best way
yeah,
to
all she did was
explain it.
sit in her
Feels
room.
like,
That's all she did.
yeah, all you can do
That's
is
all she
there's
did.
days I just sit here and cry, and George is like, "What's wrong?" I said, "It hurts to breathe."
Yeah.
Like I can breathe in, and it feels like my ribs are cracking. It's how bad it
Yeah,
can
if
get.
you guys are curious, like I said, if you go into look into Selena Gomez, it's been documented several
There's
times
a
where
lot of people.
she just sits there and she's in anguish and that kind of stuff.
No,
Yeah.
it's bad. I've even had, my sisters in the United States, two of them are just the nastiest people ever since I've left. Thank you so much, Laura. I
Thank you
really
so much, Laura.
appreciate
Appreciate
it.
the support.
Appreciate it so much. Our funds and everything go right back into the channel, and it goes right back. We store stuff on SD cards, and it goes right into the cats and pets. We think we're keeping the cats, so we're really loaded down. I know.
This is news to me.
No, it's not. I've been saying they've been good boys. The boys, we were going to rehome the boys after they get fixed in July. And the only one that might be out of the system is Momager. I call her Momster because she likes to fight with the
Well,
other
if they're
cats.
staying, we're gonna have to rename them. Backup Barbecue 1, Backup Barbecue 2, Backup
No,
Barbecue
so
3.
but it's much appreciated. It is. Hey,
Shop
what are you
out.
doing? Yeah, I know, but you ain't doing cookie no show, pal. But yeah, I mean, yes, the diet makes a difference. I will agree that if I cut back on the sugar, I don't hurt as bad. It is it?
No, that's
Oh, it's sarcasm, yeah. No, they claim that there's a back end way you can, and all I know is that
this is sarcasm, guys, obviously.
Medicare, if you're here for a week or something, very short term, and then you have a heart attack, then they're liable to cover at one of the hospitals like St. Luke. Is that right? Did I get it right?
Yes.
Okay. And they might cover it if you call, but most of those, it depends on what part you have, if you have that supplement. And if you don't have any of those, you're still going to wait for reimbursement. And good luck on that from the good old government right now. Government. And so it's, it's just that me and George, see, I've been bitching about the internet and the boom of the extra vloggers and the misinformation. I've been bitching for a long time. But I think George finally, my good husband here finally got on board, and he says, "Man, they got a lot of shit and lies on the internet these days." And I said, "Ain't that the truth?" And what it is now is you got
these days AI lies it's getting worse.
But so are the vloggers. It's the same that. It would
Almost
even it would just take
I ask now.
one vlogger is going and listening to this vlogger and this vlogger and this vlogger. Are we perfect? No. Do we give 100% we give what we think is right and what we're experiencing and what we're hearing, but we do a lot of research, guys. And we know we're living here. It doesn't work. They're not going to pay. I'm going to tell you that. I've looked into it. I've called. I've been at Clark Medical. They're not going to use the insurance. I mean, it's just where it is. But you get the new guy that comes in that maybe watched, I hate to say it, somebody like Old Dog. And then they'll just take some information and they'll spin it because they said they heard that somebody said this, or they read a comment and then said it was Old Dog that said it. And it's like, no, Old Dog didn't say that. It was somebody in his comments. You nincompoop. It's how misinformation goes around. And we always say, and have, do and look for yourself or come experience it. I just seen some guy that was on TikTok that his woman is about a third of his age. He's got to be 65 and she's about 25 maybe. And he's going on about her being in college and not working. That is her full-time job, is being in college. And what are you doing?
Yeah.
That's Cookie licking the cracker. So anyways, he's already talking about problems. He's living down in Mindanao, and he's talking about the dogs driving him crazy and how things are going south down there already. And I'm like, Betty, ain't. How long you been here, man? I bet you've been here less than a year. Let's see how long that lasts.
Basketball season yet.
No, and so it's taken me. I've been here 4 years, and I'm just like, I was walking through the house, just let it go, Heidi. leave it to God. Let God handle it today, because our neighbors were out there at the table. Let go. They were out there at their table till about midnight, and they were loud. And I'm like, dang it. And so something like that would have set me off so bad. I was attacking George all the time. True story. Every time something went bad here, George got the brunt of it. And since then, I've apologized a dozen times, and I feel that I'm getting better. He ain't giving me no credit for it. George ain't giving you no credit. Once you on that slate, he ain't gonna remove that credit, are you? Right? Once you burn that bridge, there ain't no putting it back together, right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know what you're talking about.
What you talking about, Heidi?
You were okay. So, anyways, that's just where it is.
Patricia Flaherty says I food poisoned myself with undercooked pork once. It was rough, but also kind of fascinating. Couldn't believe my body could expel so much fluid. Right? You're like, where's it coming from? So I hadn't eaten or drank anything in days.
So let me tell you about the neti pot. Have you ever used one of those things? Or are they all like that? Or are they all pretty much got the same contraption, or like some sort of okay, so I've heard of people using this. I've had when you're in the Philippines, you're gonna have allergy and sinus issues. You're gonna smell burning stuff, and then after a while you think your brain is burning, right?
Oh, that's why you did it.
Yeah, I thought it would get rid of all. Now, because of my neurological issues and brain damage as a kid, which I've told you guys before, falling on my head and high fevers and all these different things that happen, I do get very heavy smells that go through here. Like some days it's like burn. Well, there is burning trash, but I told you it's like rot. It goes from rotten trash to different things. And I seen a neurologist for years because of this, and so I thought if I used that, it would help. Maybe I've got an infection in there or something. So I get this thing and I'm sitting on the bathroom, right? And I'm already going, let me paint you a picture. So I'm already going to the bathroom, right? Oh, it's in there. It's you don't have to. It's okay. Yeah, I don't want to. So you're supposed to lean forward and tilt a certain way. And when I released the button that's on it, I waterboarded myself. So I'm like, I couldn't catch my breath. It was bad. And so the water was stuck in my throat and it was backing up and I couldn't get it to come out. Some of it already came out. And that's when I had a diarrhea bout at the same time. So when she mentioned that, that's when I was like, yeah, no.
Yeah, but people don't understand what you're saying. And they need a demonstration. How about a live demonstration, folks? Give it up for Heidi. Live demonstration. All right, let me go get it.
No.
Do a live demonstration.
No, hell no. But I know how to torture my next person. I added that on to how to torture someone besides pulling their toenails and fingernails out. Yeah. I'm going to use one of those suckers with salt water in it.
Yeah. Speaking of, again, food poisoning.
Burn the back of my throat, but then I'm just spewing out diarrhea all over. It was bad business, man.
Right.
And then I couldn't get up off the toilet until I cleaned up. So I'm trying to hold the metal
I would hope you don't get up the toilet until you cleaned up. But
well, George, I'm still choking and my throat's burning and I can't get that out. So I needed to drink milk or do something or get it out with water. And I'm coughing and I can't reach tissues or nothing. So I'm still holding the bowl because the sinks are so little here. I'm 6 foot tall. So I couldn't stand over the sink to do this. So my dumb ass was like, okay, well, I'll just sit on the toilet and do it. Like, oh, might as well go to the bathroom. I mean,
yeah, the sinks are like about around my waist.
Yeah, they're down to my knees.
So just so you guys know, they are low.
So I got a cat on one side of me on the shower chair staring at me. I can't put the bowl down because she's there. And I'm just about ready to pass out, man. It was bad. I thought I was going to die. Same with when I put that. Same with that lip stuff that ate my lips up yesterday. I was like, what the hell?
You asked for that. I'm sorry.
I asked for everything yesterday. So maybe my sisters are putting curses on me from America. Who knows?
Yeah, those lip plumper things, there's a reason why your lip plumps up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, speaking of food poisoning, food poisoning.
They say it's an exfoliator is what they said.
Yeah.
It actually says that on
it'll
there.
peel off your
That's what
top
it
layer
the
of your
hell
lips, all
did.
right.
Yeah.
Yes. And speaking of food poisoning and internet lies, actually yesterday
I think it's because the new pope is American is what's really going on.
freak. Anyway,
I think he's going to clean the slate with us bad Americans.
yeah, okay. Anyway, speaking of internet
It's a
lies,
joke, guys.
yesterday I came across this girl who there's some kind of movement where you eat raw meat kind of deal. I came across it on YouTube.
That's not that.
Where she was eating raw meat. Now, the problem I have with that video that I particularly saw, pay attention. When she takes a bite off it and chews it, and then she takes another bite and chews it, she doesn't swallow it. There's cuts. She doesn't swallow it. So what that means is she bites it, chews it, spits it out, bites it, chews it, spits it out, and then she cuts off the part where she spits it out. So it looks like she's eating it, but she is actually not eating it at all.
Yeah,
watch out, guys.
Yeah, 1 second, guys. All right, I was just telling him I'm gonna place an order and see how it goes.
Yeah, Victoria says good morning, Heidi, George, and chat and crew. Gio says travel medical you can get, but you have. Yeah. I think he meant, but if you have pre-existing conditions, which would likely not be covered. Correct.
There's your worms right there. I've been telling you about your pocky worms.
Oh, why did you want to show them?
Well, you can. I got them for you. I can't do anything with them, but yeah, see if that's the one that's open.
Now these are, well, I wasn't going to.
Yeah.
No, these are
potchy worms.
Potchy worms. They're gummy worms, but they're a different type. These are Japanese.
Actually, they're made in the Philippines. The ideal, but that company is here and they've been selling them for a while.
No, these
you were supposed to use the spoon.
These are another highly addictive.
Oh, wait till you have these.
Oh, speaking of getting, what do you call that? Getting infections or getting poisoned. This is
George is trying to.
This is the store version of it.
Yes, here's another way you're going to get sick. The
norovirus. Here, it says 1 peso each.
This is meant for.
Correct. So the buyer is supposed to open it,
which is usually grubby little dirty fingernails from little Filipino
or
kids.
The seller. Doesn't matter. Point is
they're meant to get it themselves.
They're supposed to open this
and reach the tiny spoon.
Get the tiny spoon
and get their own out one at a time.
We didn't put the spoon in, guys. And that's how it's supposed to be. This is the store version.
That's how you can. Most of the people that end up sick is usually the norovirus. Same signs. It just takes about a week or so to get sick from it. If you get sick after you eat something the next day, and you know, like me, I knew it was the soft lumpia and the meat, then you know it's.
And let's say again, remember, there's a spoon, right? But guess where the spoon's gonna be? It's right there. So what I'm saying is, well, it's a spoon. It's not a tong. That's another thing. Like seriously.
I'm kidding. I can't, babe. I mean.
Well, what I'm saying is, guess where the spoon's gonna be? The spoon's still gonna go in there, and guess what? The spoon's gonna be touching.
Your grubby little hands. Of course, you know that's your batch, right?
No, I get it. I'm just demonstrating.
I know.
Again, what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter if it's the seller or the buyer. That spoon's going to be in there touching the stuff.
That's what I was showing him here.
Yeah.
For you guys that didn't see, there's the Pampanga market in the morning, but right here. The meat stays out there for a while because they don't sell that stuff right away. Everybody's reaching over the meat. You get your own stick, and then you hand it to them to be cooked. What do you think?
What about it?
What about the candy, man? Them are pretty.
I've had these before.
Dude, I get that, but what do you think?
They're good, of course.
Well, they got different companies that make it. There are the sour ones. Them aren't the sour ones, and at least I don't think those are.
Well,
But them can be addictive because they're part marshmallow and part gummy. They're more like a marshmallow. But no, everybody has their hands over the meat, and anybody could infect the meat, guys. But they do this stuff over in
yeah, and
India,
look,
and
like she has one glove in the other, but none in the other.
but yeah, but usually the people grab their own meat. Like the kids will walk up and grab 2 sticks and hand it to them, and people all day.
Well,
walk
normally I
over
have
it.
somebody else grab my meat.
I tried that this morning. You better go back on over to your family's house where you belong, boy.
I'm like
And you guys think I want him here all day because I mentioned that earlier, and that's when Ruby said something. No, hell no, I don't want to be over there all the time.
I'm like ChatGPT. I'm open source.
The only person I want to see is his uncle. I don't want to see you. I want to see your face or her face or maybe just the little kid's face, but I don't want to see nobody else. Just Unc and little face.
Second one says my wife thinks I'm crazy because I can live on my own here.
Uh-huh.
Luca says our senior foreign expats who use senior card to purchase meds and even grocery senior cards are only for Filipino citizens. Okay.
Yes. Now they tend to put me up in line as they see me as an older, big American, and they let me sit on the senior benches, but we don't get no senior discounts. But it is true, you don't get any senior discounts as foreigner. Get a little attention.
Yeah. Now, can you get in line and get senior privilege as far as that's concerned? Yes. But you don't get the senior discounts because for them to get the senior discounts, they have to log in the senior card.
And I'm just gonna
reimbursed for it.
I'm just gonna make George do it.
Senior cards are only issued to citizens, so
I'll just wait for you to get your card. Another 11 years.
And senior cards here are localized. What I'm saying is, for example, let's say I'm a senior citizen in Angel City. If I'm in San Fernando, I don't get the senior discounts there or anywhere else for that matter. For example, seniors here can get to watch a free movie on Mondays, the first show. If I go to San Fernando or go to Mabalacat, then I don't get to watch for free because they're localized.
So if you get your senior card and you go to Baguio, they're not going to give you any senior discount. Well, I thought that's a national.
They give you the senior privilege of going in front of the line, but you do not get discounts at that point.
So in other words, someone's out of town, they're not going to get to see the movies because they're in San Fernando. You got to be a local
because for example, if you're a senior, again, if you're in Angel City,
leave my feet alone.
Official fast food restaurants, if you ask for the senior discount, they'll give it to you because they do get this. They get a 20% discount, and that's a lot. So what I'm saying is, So if you go to Manila or Baguio, like you said, they don't get that discount off the food. That's how it works. Yumi Mango says, I've had
just makes
diarrhea
me want to go to a buffet right now.
Since I started dating Salman Minilla.
Oh my God, this is just, I can't even, I thought, and it was like 2 days ago, I got through Thursday night, which was horrible, the first night, and then got to Friday, and then George Saturday was like, he went out to go get a few things, and then he comes in and he brings me all this Mother's Day, and I said, well, Mother's Day's tomorrow. I know. And then he goes, let's do the live anyways. And I'm like, I'm half dead here, right? He says, you need to get up. And so then I do the live stream and I'm still half dead. And then I think Saturday night into about 1 a.m., I'm like, I got my second wind, right? It's kind of like when people are dying in the hospital and they get that second wind and then they die anyways. It's like I was on that Oregon Trail, walking up that Oregon Trail, doing my thing. I was like, I think I got enough points. I'm going to live. I'm not going to get bit by the rattlesnake, right? And then got bit by the goddamn rattlesnake, man. Don't you know? Next morning, man, I go, well, bammo, man, got hit dang about 7 a.m. It's like splash, splash. It's like colors all over the bowl and red and yellow and orange and all that crap. It looked like October all over again.
Yeah. And kind of in the subject, but not quite. Let me ask you guys this because
Do you use diaper wipes and toilet paper? You guys just use a gun. He wants to know how you wipe.
Okay. I'm not diabetic because we have a blood testing
I
thing
test
for
you right now.
diabetes,
Mhm.
right? So I'm not diabetic.
Because I'm practically narcoleptic on some days, so I get low blood sugar.
Right.
Believe it or not.
Now I'm asking you guys, because again, first off, remember I've said several times that don't trust everything on the internet, and most of the time now, it actually the internet lies to you now. What I'm saying is,
Oh shit! I forgot I ordered that order.
I have this weird condition that if I eat this, I'm not lying. If I eat, for example, these gummies, okay, or if I eat too much donuts, and when I mean too much, I'm saying, let's say if I eat 3 donuts, that will make me sick.
I don't think it has anything to do with you being diabetic. I just think it's how you're processing sugar at your age.
Right. I'm just asking if anybody knows what this condition is.
Dumping syndrome.
No, I've always been this way though.
Dumping syndrome.
I can't
Some
have too much
people,
sugar.
since I've had the gastric bypass, I can't eat large amounts. That's why you'll see me eat one donut, because after I eat that, I do feel sick. So I lost 3/4 of my stomach. I had the full gastric bypass, geez, a long time ago, 24 years ago. And I lost X amount of weight, kept it off for a long time, and then slowly regained it back. But I had the rough one. It's the Roux-en-Y. They took out part of my intestines, reconnected 3 rows of titanium staples. It was done in St. Petersburg, Florida, and I lost the weight. Not all of it. It never does happen like that. And then just over time, it just started coming back. And so I changed my eating habits, did way better than I did back then. And dumping syndrome. Every time you eat sugar and your body isn't processing it, you will get like that. I think the older you're getting, you're having an issue, but we've tested your blood.
No, I know.
So
Like I said,
I just think
I
it's
know I don't have
yeah. So let us
diabetes,
know
so.
if you guys have that.
Patricia Flaherty
Not-
says chicken broth, good old chicken noodle soup, or bone
Yeah.
broth will help replenish electrolytes better than those electrolyte supplements. Eat a banana or potassium for after days.
Yeah, I just ordered.
For a few
We'll see
days.
if we'll get the bananas, because I ordered one set, and if it's not there, they'll give us the other one. And I make my own electrolyte stuff also. So all it is salt. It's salt in the water, and it's a balance of making your own. And yes, I have the chicken broth, and so that's what I'll be on the next few days.
Gio says I buy them travel medical when I take a trip, but for living somewhere, probably not a good coverage to have.
Yeah, so that's the ideal, is that when you go, it's okay if you're going to Thailand and you come back and you have it for a little bit, but you will get the misinformation from other channels where he might have got that from somebody. But to advise that out loud about doing something like that would be kind of scary, because, and I would be really surprised if he did qualify. I'm sorry. I can just tell that if you're more than, what is it, usually 20 pounds overweight, the insurance companies start questioning you, and they will go through and they ask, especially the better ones that you do want, they're going to ask you about your medical issues. Well, don't be like me and give my weight in kilograms, because they dropped that phone after that shit. Remember the very first time we tried to get insurance when we went to first come here? I told them my pounds and kilograms.
Here's in kilos.
And so
when they ask for your weight, don't give it in pounds. You have to convert it. Okay. So what I'm saying is kilos on average is like 2 per every pound. It's like, 2 for every kilo. There's 2 pounds on average. So what I'm saying
I
is,
am gonna lie, I told them I was 270 pounds, man, or 270. Yeah, I thought it was pounds, and they put kilograms. They said, we're gonna have to have an exam. I don't.
yeah.
Holy shit! I said, you realize how much that is? That's a lot of weight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Yeah. Victor C says
Take that to
pickled
the
onions
church.
can last a year. Neil says
That's what I probably need to do. The problem is I'm just a good old fashioned pack rat, man. But I told you we should be canning some stuff because that's the problem. Vegetables are becoming very pricey. You got to admit that the tomatoes, the onions, everything is going up here like it is in the world. And the problem is they really don't coat them here. So if I get something, every time I get them, I've got to use them like right away. I mean, if they're not eaten up within the day, then they just go bad. And, yeah, just where it is.
Neil says Trump was going to either tariff or remove their tax exempt status on Catholic Church in the U.S. if an American cardinal was not elected pope.
Probably true, man.
Patriot for Life says the Catholic Church, richest bank in the world. Victor C says Pope Leo is working for refugees. Yumi Mango
I think that's
says,
what he was doing before. That's where he was off in the other country. Yeah.
I'm a Roman Catholic and have since before I was born. And one thing they say about Catholics is they'll take you as soon as you're warm.
Oh snap.
Oh dang. John Ryder, hello.
Hi,
Hey, John
John.
Ryder, how are you doing? Like a Spot says, senior and co-worker and I got hit by food poisoning with raw oysters. Oh dang, in Boracay. I saw them clean the oysters with muddy floor water. I swear it tastes. Oh my gosh.
Here's the thing, babe. We know they take shortcuts here like they would in India. Once, even in the United States, I said this at the beginning of the live that these shortcuts are the things we talk about usually happen in the US. The US since the 80s is just in the 70s, it just went downhill. I'm sorry. And now, especially, and people are getting lazier and taking shortcuts. I take shortcuts all the time. I really do. I thought about shit, I'm a lazy mofo, but when it comes down to it, that I would believe in. And I thought avoiding something like that would avoid what I had now, but you could get that probably off a donut, man.
No, you can get off anything. Yeah.
I'm not eating that but crackers for the next year.
Yeah, Victoria says inline filters and such should be sterilized often. Yeah, they should be changed every so often, and like we change ours sooner than most. We change it every 2 months, although it's recommended. Technically, you're supposed to change them once in 6 months.
I don't think
but we change ours once in 2 months.
Because I don't think that we use it enough. Although we use it to fill the cat fountains several times a day, and then we use it for other things like the ice machine. It gets to a point where it almost tastes. Remember, I said I can taste where it tastes moldy or something, or it's got some sort of off flavor.
No, it does. And the same thing in these establishments. Remember, in the U.S., same thing. Some establishments in the U.S. they skip out doing that. That's why they do random health inspections, and that's why some restaurants they shut down or they have a lower grade because they forget to change the filters, or they don't forget, but you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I haven't had soda like forever, so I just have to. I haven't had any sugar or nothing. I think I was just looking at the Sprite, thinking I'm gonna get that nice and cold.
Sweet Caroline. Hey, Heidi, get well soon. I tend to forget that blended drinks are also made with crushed tap ice water. Slamming the ice. No,
we tend to make our own these days. I don't think when what's his name mentioned a boba tea, you haven't brought me a boba tea from out and about forever. How long's that been since you brought me any of those?
No, I brought you one a month ago.
Boba? With boba in it from the street? I gotta think about another family member.
No, I brought you one. Yeah, I did.
Man, well, it could just be memory. I mean,
it was what do you call it? I don't remember what it was though. But no, I don't have it. I stopped doing it for several reasons. One,
I don't remember it being a month ago. Hold on. No, probably. 1 second here. It's probably hi. Okay. So the probably don't need it, but I got the pia or whatever. You like the pias that go with the coffee and stuff. So basically, it is just floured bread, and then they put the ube in it. So
yeah.
Anyways, so that's the only thing. The size was not available.
Like a Spot says, at least my boss believed me when I called in.
Isn't ube potatoes? Like a potato form?
Well, it's a root crop.
Yeah.
Yes, you can call it potato. It is.
It's a root. Okay,
is a
so
root
then
crop.
yeah, the roots itself, potatoes, roots, and everything are
It's
also good
I
for.
mean, I guess it's called purple yam.
Yeah, so I figured it would be good.
You know,
Probably not
sweet
today.
potato is yam, so yeah, I guess you could call it a potato.
Mm,
It is a purple yam.
yeah.
Anyway, Patriot for Life says, "What about the 5G conspiracy governance program called Blue Cloud?"
Mm. Oh, are you talking about the blue cloud that's causing where the rain? Are they talking about the cropping, seed cropping? There's been blue rain, blue cloud. Is that what he's talking about? I know there's something going on about blue rain in the United States and some other stuff, and people have been finding it. I don't know. It's kind of scary. So I don't know.
John Ryder says, "Cannot get sick from carb beverages."
Oh, probably.
Victor C
But my
says tapeworms
throat's
can live up
on
to
fire.
30 years. That's awesome.
By the way, in the beginning, I'll probably make a short out of it. I said you tried to force a worming pill on me. I said, not today. You're not like a kid.
Right.
You tried to force a worm pill on me. Maybe I had a worm, a parasite or something. You want to try that worming pill today?
Right. Hillbilly Power says the
tried to clip
salesman
my
was
nails,
sick when
too.
I bought my bike. 2 days later, I had whatever he had and could.
It just seems like here's the deal. Every
I was
time
sick for 2 weeks.
Every time I've been to the mall, every time I go to immigration, every time we've had an outing, except for when the only one I don't feel that I got sick on was our birthday when we went to the resort, but that was really immaculately clean inside and out, and we were outside when we dined. Oh, excuse me. But it seems like every time I get sick, every time I'm laid out. Now, about a year ago when I did that, I didn't recover really quick. I was literally in bed for 2 days after that, but I've been doing better.
Yeah.
So, but every time sick.
Patriot for Life says they now have flesh-eating worms coming from Mexican beef, nicknamed boar worms.
Yum.
Yes, coconut water will help hydrate. Correct. Yeah.
But the coconut, here's the deal. Coconut is bad for diarrhea. So I was saying earlier, somebody was giving out advice about they were telling them that milk was okay when you had diarrhea, and the guy was using coconut milk and something else mixed. A bunch of those that give out misinformation to make people just sick on purpose. I can't, yeah, they got to be careful on that. But no, I'm pretty sure coconut water is every time it causes me, it could just be me.
That's like an online version of Munchausen, right?
What's that? Telling people to do stuff
That'll
is
make them sick. Like an
know.
online version of Munchausen. Anyway,
They were telling him to drink apple juice and a bunch of, and I'm pretty sure apple juice is also a laxative.
oh, okay. Second Wind says it's funny Qatar buys a lot of military
Yes,
planes from the
coconut
U.S.
water is a laxative.
Why would we get America a plane from Qatar? Right. Well, again, it's political, of course.
Yeah.
And again, I even said
It says due to the potassium content and the natural sugars and the glucose and fructose, it is a mild laxative. So
yeah.
he had bought. We have a couple of the not what is that called? Cocoa Mogu, and I was just about ready to drink that yesterday after I was sick, and I said no, man. That's when I decided to start eating more of a bland diet. I have to. I can't no more. I might have to do surgery on myself by Friday.
Hillbilly Pyro says my area has 2 malls with grocery stores. Both have roach problems. Fair enough. Yes. What's that?
Oh, thank you,
thanks
Victoria.
so much, Victoria. Appreciate you so much.
I can get pizza.
You can. That will actually help.
Hey.
That crust.
What's wrong with your stomach?
What do you mean?
Which end did that come from?
What are you talking about?
Did you just burp?
No.
But you just burped, literally. Did you just take a drink within the last few
No.
minutes? You
Didn't
sure
hear
you burped?
Mike's right here.
I could have swore you just burped.
Well,
within a
if
few
I
minutes.
did, some of the people can say it.
Oh, I don't know because it
The,
smelled like
the mic's
rotten
right here.
eggs.
What
Yeah.
I'm saying is it's right here.
No, it smelled like rotten eggs. So I just thought maybe your stomach was going sour. Maybe it was
Oh.
something. We could have both ate because I thought I smelled that the other day. I know you can eat the wrong thing, and I'm surprised none of that has come up. But
CBGB says I have barbecue tofu steaks in my neighbor hut. I have a tofu ranch back home. Hillbilly Pyro says, yeah, it's free range soy beasts. Yes, that's where they get soy from.
yeah, because we have we have soy flakes and stuff that we use. They use a lot of that here in the Philippines, by the way. They have a lot of their hamburgers are not real. It's soy, like the Yum burgers are not. They're soy. And I don't mind it. The problem is me processing soy through my stomach, like the vegetables like broccoli and certain vegetables are just hard to process. But we do like the soy flakes. So I make it and make barbecue meat out of it and do some other
Yeah,
things.
and be
it's
careful
inexpensive.
buying soy from the supermarkets, guys.
Yeah, we've done that and it's ended up being rotten.
Yeah, be careful. Actually, it's kind of ironic when earlier Heidi was talking about soy, the Tahoe guy was walking by and yelling, and I ignore that guy, and not because
Oh man, I wanted to get some of
the
that
reason
other
why
day.
is because he doesn't have Tahoe by the time he gets here.
Oh, and I listened to you because he was here, you were asleep, and he came, but he didn't come till like 11 something. I said, no, that's some old stuff going by.
Yeah, he doesn't have Tahoe anymore. He has soy now. That his product has turned into tofu now, and that's why I asked, like, well, then why you come if you're
Hello. Hi. Okay, 1 second.
What?
It's for you. She's not speaking. I can't even understand the word banana in there.
Why? What's going on?
Something's missing.
What's missing? Hello? What's missing? Yes. Okay, that's fine. Thank you. No, they were. I could have sworn they called you earlier and they said they only have the smaller pack.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Oh, okay. No, she's speaking full Tagalog and she's speaking really quick. And yeah.
No, I could barely understand her.
Okay.
I could barely understand her.
No, so okay.
No, she speaks really fast.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, and then what it is, it's he's selling his tofu. So yeah. Anyway, like a spot says, a lot of pet parents here are hypochondriacs too, but I know it's hard because pets can't verbalize how they feel. Correct. Like a spot says, charcoal may be like kaolin clay, which is the main ingredient in anti-diarrhea meds. Is it Yakult probiotic? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
We have Yakult. Well,
those drinks.
Sometimes we have Yakult. Sometimes we have the other brand.
The C2 does not have any apple juice, but apple juice, yes, is definitely a laxative. And that guy said, oh, coconut milk. And he was going on about apple juice. I said, dude, don't do it, man. And so, yeah, it's only made with green tea, acid. And so, in other words, it's a fake apple. There is no real apple inside of the apple C2. It's got sucralose, which is okay, better than some of those other fake sugars, but antioxidant. So there is no real apple in that. So because I drank one yesterday and I was really concerned that which the acid probably is not good. I should have been drinking water, but I've had little to nothing to eat since Thursday. And I mean, nothing's wrong with losing weight. I still have to keep up my strength with my lupus and the medication in me. And I ain't trying to be nobody skinny, man. George would probably leave me. You talking about the mayor?
No, that's what I thought. No, I think Heidi was talking about in Mabalaka. I don't think you're talking about.
Well, it looks like Hoagie actually won the whatever the senatorial race. He's moving on up. He did win the position. Yes, he whatever that congressman. I mean, he won the next seat up. He was running for
Wait.
Yeah, Lizotten was running for a higher position, not mayor this time.
He didn't.
Yep.
Well.
Yeah. I'll
Anyway.
look it up. Yeah. So. Yeah, I usually don't get into that either.
Angela says, "Morning, all." Good. Gia says, "Have a good day. Need to run." Thank you for being with us, Gia.
Thanks,
Laura says,
Gia.
"We are all different weights, and it's a personal thing. We all have struggles in life for sure. More to us than our struggles."
Aquino Gel is her name, and it's a woman. She actually won over Garbo.
No, that's Mabalaka.
Yeah, I know.
That's why I said we're not talking about Mabalaka.
Well, yeah, that's the one I was talking about.
I know that. But Joseph's asking who the new mayor is. He's not asking about Mabalaka because that doesn't concern him. He's asking for angels. Lost in the Philippines says, "Did you get duodenal switch gastric bypass?" That's on the short and small intestines. Do you take your vitamin supplements?
There are multiples. Dundal switch is the other one. I had the Ruin Y. So do I? Yes. And I knew leaving the United States that was also another problem. But I went over 23 years with no issues. I already have a narrowing stomach that caused issues. So when I eat and drink, it slowly goes down. Food gets stuck, water gets stuck. I tell George all the time, I can feel my liquids going down. I never had that corrected, but no, mine is not the Dundal switch. There are two. I had the Ruin Y, so on the gastric, and so, yeah.
Yeah, Angelo says Duterte is the mayor, and Joseph Rutherford says Duterte. Come on. Laura says sugar is a beast.
It is.
Yeah, Angelo. Yeah, Duterte is the doomed drug lord. Yes. Victoria says a neti bottle. It's to open up block sciences.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Peter Ferlai says base treatment nebulizer with albuterol. Right. So Victoria says sweet and sour gummies. No, they're just sweet. No, none of the sour side. Like a spot says, I would use my thumbs to catch the pachi because it's a tiny spoon. No, it is, and not a thong. Yeah, it's not a tongs, right? It should be a tongs, right? I know, right? Kind of like where, there's some gummy worms where they come with tongs. You know what I'm talking about? The ones with the lights. I think they're called fireflies, gummy fireflies. But anyway, or glow worms, depending on which brand you buy. And then of course they'd fall, and I'd get a different one. Haha, there you go. Dang, I miss Pachi. I'll check Seafood City.
No, and they're not bad. They're only $3 for the gigantic container. We bought one about 2 months ago, and they're like addictive as crap. Believe me, that's why I was pretending like I was going to eat them, but I know it'll go through me.
Angelo says when you reach 50, probably diabetes, too much sugar. No, it's not diabetes because again, we do have a testing kit, and it's weird. I've always been like this, even when I was not younger, but
so why did it show him?
But in my
Can he run?
middle
He
ages,
can't run for two positions, can he? It must be a different. He must have a son that was running too. Because according to this, it says Mayor 2025, 95. Yeah, Lizotten, John Camillo. That's what it says.
Well, I know Lito Lapid. Yeah. I don't know about Lizotten.
Vice Mayor Riviera.
I want to know if
it said Camillo won again.
Yeah.
So that must have been something else they had written, or that he's got somebody else running.
Well, I know Lito Lapid. Yes.
No, see right there. It's his name again, and it says congratulations. So he can run for both?
I guess he can. He does say
that's him twice.
Yeah, he does say congressman. Capsy Pepper.
No, it's his son. There it is. Mayor Camilo
Oh.
John Lazatan. His son
became
same
mayor.
name. Look at, oh, isn't that confusing?
Yeah, it is.
Both of them
They're
call
both
themselves
Carmelo
Camilo.
Lazatin.
And the only thing that changes is they have a nickname.
They
for
both,
them.
yeah, they have the same name.
They
Carmelo
don't even look
Lazatin.
alike, do they? Not even close. You would never even know in a million years.
Yeah, they do.
What are you talking about?
He's young.
Oh, yes, but I'm talking about like his face and eyes. He must look like his mother.
Is. Aging.
Yeah.
No, babe, it's the same.
Anyway,
Capsy Pepper says most restaurants and fast food stores only give senior discount on just one food item you buy. Not Mary Grace restaurants do give senior discounts based on your total bill. Oh, Mary Grace. Oh my gosh, that's really expensive. Angela says I got diabetes, but not much sugar, just eating chicken a lot here. There you go. Linda says,
is that from eating the rice along with it?
Right. 10 of us that work in the ER got norovirus last month. Oh, really?
No,
oh, wow.
that's where I actually think I am because of how long term it is. But time will tell. I just think I'm being laid out because of my lupus. Purple, yeah. That's, what do they call those things? Basically, they're not deep fried or nothing. They're baked or something, and they put the yam stuff in the middle. I don't know. I'm probably risking my life on that one. Gotcha.
Like a spot. Super chats. Purple yum. Yes, Patriot Flight. He's talking about purple yum. It's purple yum. Yes. Victoria says you're welcome.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that means, Ronald, but I check our pay on what?
Yeah, yeah. CBGB
Yeah.
says the green soy wafers aren't half bad, George. No, I mean I don't have
I
a
know
problem.
YouTube has been paying way less lately.
I don't have a problem with soy. Never have.
The green soy wafers aren't half bad. I like soy.
Yeah, we both like soy, so it's never. We'll check that out.
Oh, okay. So then he sent support for the channel. That might be him. Oh, thank you so much. That's what it is. So I thought he was talking about the YouTube pay. Thank you so much,
thank you so much, Ronald. Appreciate you so much.
Yeah, when people say that, then we know it's either that or they're really talking.
We didn't know what you were referring to. Yeah, now we know. Thank you so much. I appreciate your support.
Yeah, we know that's going down. It actually dropped by $40 this month. But again, we mentioned it's not why we do it. I'd get on here just to talk smack about George, the family, my family, the world. It just little love therapy.
Right.
Show off my pets.
Sorry about that. I only speak about my experience with coconut water and hangovers and pre-existing.
No, yeah, I mean it's actually good. There's no doubt that coconut water. I love coconut water, but I always got to be nearby home when I drink it. So
no
Ronald apple juice.
PayPal. Yeah, it's PayPal.
No, I had to because I've drinking one yesterday and one the day before, and now I had to start thinking, what do I need to change? And I haven't been eating a bland diet because I figured if it was food poisoning, that stuff's already gone anyways out of my system. So beings I could hardly eat and I'm throwing up, I'm like, screw it. I'm going to eat what I can if I can. Here's another thing. 2 days ago, I ate some watermelon. The problem with that is that they're okay with me eating the watermelon. The problem is the fibers in it with the sugar in it might be too much for my stomach. It's a natural sugar. So most of the doctors and people are okay with eating watermelon because it's hydrating and it's got vitamins. But they're saying it's too much sugar. It could be still irritating my stomach.
Yeah.
But I still want the rest of that watermelon, man. Are we? Yeah, we better. Are we at the? Yeah, because we got a delivery coming in. Thank you, everybody, for your support today.
Say goodbye, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate you so much, guys.
Say your goodbye.
Thank you so much, Ronald. Appreciate you so much.
Thanks, George, for joining the live.
Thank you so much, Linda. Appreciate your support. Kay Dallas, thank you so much. Of course, Gio in the Philippines, thank you for being with us today, and also thank you so much for
George,
your support.
George,
Appreciate it.
George,
Laura, thank you so much.
Gio, when
Laura.
you gonna do something so we could talk about you, man?
Right.
Just
Victoria, thank you so much.
I've been
Appreciate
on
you
the
so
up and
much.
up, except for your divorce, and even then we stayed off the radar on that one because there was really nothing. People kept trying to get us to cover it, and I'm like, I was surprised when he got married, and then the breakup. I wasn't. We received a lot of emails where people were trying to feed us stuff, and I'm like, it just sounds like somebody young, and you know. But anyways, we'll be watching you.
Right.
I'll be watching you. What you talking about?
Right.
Anyways, thank you, Sarah. Ted was in the house.
Thanks so much.
Laura, thank you so much.
Like a
Second
spawn.
win. CGBG, Patriot for Life. John Ryder was in the
Joseph
house.
Relaford.
Victoria.
Hillbilly Pyro.
MGD.
MB. John
Pablo.
Ryder. Victor C.
Philippine Prepping.
Yumi Mango.
Rob
Neo.
Morrison, thank you. He's been in there on
Lucca.
our
Patriot for second win, of
Patreon.
course. Thank you so much for being with us. George K. MGD.
I really need that soda.
Need a soda.
I know.
Here. You have soda. It's right there.
I know, but it's hot.
It's not
probably
hot.
gonna go right
it
through
turned
me.
warm. Stay safe, everyone. Look after yourself, Heidi. Like a spot says, be healed, Heidi. Enjoy.
Thank
See you both
you.
later, and have a beautiful
Antics.
Yeah.
Fan Antics day. So
Yeah.
so we'll
Victoria
see.
says coconut water has electrolytes, great for dehydration, especially
Now when you got diarrhea.
rehydration.
Now when you got
Especially
diarrhea,
if you drank too much alcohol later, peeps. Take care.
No, there is a lot of good to it. Take care,
Yeah.
guys.
Thanks so much, guys. Love you all. Bye.
Bye.